3, 2. Let's see if I can get this right. Chromacopia. Chromacopia.
Yeah.
Good evening to all. It is October 29th at 7:09 p.m. EST. It's me, your friend, Chris Kennard, aka the Princess of Port Richmond, aka Ham Kavina, first of her name, long shall she reign. I am joined, as always, with my incredibly handsome, talented friend, Olor, aka Arkantel, aka the Living Abstraction, aka Mastermind. Dearest Olor, how are you this evening?
Oh, it's been a day of a lot. It's been a day of a lot of thinking and planning and trying to put words into actions. And one of those words we promised to put into action today was doing this show. And by all means, I am happy to be here.
I'm happy you're here too. We did it last time. We're gonna do it again this time. We're gonna do all the calls to action ahead of schedule because we have a lot of yapping to do.
Yeah.
So first things first, in lieu of political unrest, I want to start by saying that the cast of Ken Mide, that is to say, Chris Kennard and Olor, we stand in solidarity with the peoples of these following nations: Yemen, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Ethiopia, Niger, Somalia, Mali, Myanmar, Burkina Faso, Darfur, South Sudan, Ghana, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, Bangladesh, Lebanon, and Palestine. If you want to learn more about helping any of these countries, you can go to rescue.org. The link is in the description. We are not sponsored, but we just thought you'd like to know. Also, we'd also like you to know, stay hydrated, drink water as often as you are able to do so.
Mhm.
Coffee and tea can wait. After this stream, it's going to be about maybe 2 hours or so. You're going to get up and pee. And when you do, wash your hands and look in the mirror, look yourself dead in the eye and say, I love you to yourself. And if you can't do that, trust me, we can relate. Please know that we love you in the most platonic and supportive way possible. And you follow your freaking dreams so you can end up on the Apple Music 100 Best Albums list. Now, when this list came out, it was mired in controversy because everyone thinks they know better, including the two of us. So much that we decided to make our own lists in a way, in like a I guess like a creative exercise. Like, what if the people who came up with this list had to come to our office as if to say, Ken Mide, please approve the albums on this list. And we are here to tell you that at least 20 of these motherfuckers are getting cut
Yeah, yeah,
immediately. Like I
yeah.
like I said a moment ago, each of us like compiled 100 albums that we feel are the best. And we're gonna go through that. After we go through the official Apple list, we're gonna go 25 albums at a time. Please don't be overwhelmed. If you want like a visual aid, along with the rescue.org hyperlink, you will find the links to the Apple list and the Spotify links to our lists. And if you don't have that particular DSP, I know I've made like the YouTube version of my list. I will work on the Mide version probably tonight because I don't have anything better to do besides like play Assassin's Creed. So look
Okay.
forward to that at a later date if you are going to like replay this live stream. Do you have any thoughts before we get started today, Laura?
I'm just looking forward to the conversation we really have to say about this list because as much as we've spoken about kind of like general opinion on this list and as well as what we felt our counters were. I guess I don't know. I feel I mean, growing up, like funny enough, like being aware of the mega importance of like magazines like the Rolling Stones. I was of course used to their own list on great albums, the 500 great albums, one which they have which they've saw fit to update numerous times through the years. I mean, there definitely was not any Harry Styles when I had originally gotten a hold of that list growing up. But
Respectfully, get that shit the fuck out of here.
yeah, no comment, no comment.
Nah. On business. Ken Mide said, get that shit the fuck out of here.
And
I think there are plenty of bisexual British men who have done way better music than Harry Styles. And I'll be the first to tell you, Adore You is a slapper. But out of the 3 LPs that man has made, and you want to be on the best 500 albums list of all time across the cultural canon, have a seat, Harry. Respectfully.
And while I don't necessarily, and believe me, they're like, I don't want to. It's like I don't want to get caught shading Rolling Stones too much because they just did a cover story.
I got heat for y'all too. Don't get it fucking twisted.
Because it just did a good story on an artist that's very near and dear to me, and
congratulations for doing your fucking jobs.
And I appreciated that. So I don't want to shade them too much. But one thing I will say is that I guess getting used to a list like the Rolling Stones and not to question their motives in changing and adding certain people on those lists, but I guess it's the reason having to get used to that is the reason why, I might, I can't, looking at this Apple list in comparison, I can't. I mean, it's okay. Getting it out of the way. It's not a list I would have made. It's just not. But it's also not a list that I can be so. I can be so surprised in terms of my apathy towards it, because it's like, okay, of course you guys are going to do that. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm not going to shade this artist because I know because his fans are like really, really active, and I do not deny Bad Bunny. Bad Bunny.
Wait. Already? Now I'm astonished.
Look, this isn't me shaded him. It's just like really this album.
And hey. Okay, so just a minute ago, I was cutting you off.
We love Bad Bunny here. We
wait,
do.
No, I'm like, but I think there needs to be a conversation about this for a moment. It's like here I was just talking shit about Harry Styles, like because it's easy. It's not like complex. It's what's the challenge in talking shit about Harry Styles? Yeah. Like there's no conversation to be had. Like it's shooting a fish in a barrel. Yeah. Like and like take that how you will. With Bad Bunny, it's different because everyone, I feel that it has every person that doesn't have like a Hispanic or Latina person in their life underestimates like the cultural impact of a Bad Bunny. You know what I'm saying? And, he may as well be fucking Elvis as far as just like the aura this man has over his audience. And to be frank, I don't like a ton of his work. And the cool thing about Bad Bunny, it's like, oh dang, I don't know where to start. Just like, like blindfold yourself and stick your hand out. Odds are you might find something that you like. But like, he's on the list. I understand why he's on the list. And even if I don't like it, I get it. Because I live online. I see just like I remember the first time I heard about this dude. It's been 6 years and he's still kicking ass. Silence your phone.
Yeah. It's on vibe, man. Yeah, the vibrates.
I can hear the vibrations through the air.
The vibrations are betraying me right now, seriously. But yeah, this is not like shade on him, because like I especially understand his very, very like active audience. In fact, if anything, it's kind of more me admitting my kind of limitation, my kind of limit, as
Okay,
much
I
as
understand that.
far reaching as I try to have my taste, my sense of music being, it also has its limitations because it's like Bad Bunny, like I've been like hip on the whole Bad Bunny thing for like what, maybe like 5 years now, and I
It's been about.
still, yeah, and this is me kind of snitching on myself. It's like it's an evolution. It's my relationship with him. It's not one that's really kind of evolved because I was like, I've like, maybe I just don't have the cultural audience reach for this because you talk, especially because we can't deny, like, the women love Bad Bunny. They just do. They just do.
He's
And
hot.
it, yeah, exactly. And it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, I know the folks who would know. Okay, I know the folks who would know Bad Bunny like inside out, who could tell me why this dude is like the musician of our time. And also shout out to him for, like, calling out that whole Trump Madison Square Garden comedian BS, who was saying a lot of disrespectful
Fuck
stuff
you,
about Puerto
Tony.
Rico. And like, if and let me just put it out there, if Bad Bunny is in any way responsible for Trump losing in a week, it's nothing but love. It
We're
really
buying
is. It
some
really
vinyl
is.
next week.
Yeah. So so yeah, there's the stuff that I can be like, what the hell is up with this choice or that choice, and then there's other stuff where I'm like, okay, you know what, maybe I don't get it, maybe I can't relate to it, but this is something I'm just gonna have to accept as something I just don't understand. Not that I can down talk it, I just don't understand, like.
And I want to challenge you here because I hear a little bit of myself in what you're saying, and I have like taken it upon myself to say, if like you're an artist that I'm not like familiar with, and like a lot of people love you and are like going hard for you, I'm not really interested in checking out your work unless what I hear is extremely compelling, be it like snippets of music or from a person directly saying to me, you must hear this music, you know?
Mhm.
And so, like, and I would say I have like a good handful of like Spanish speaking artists that I am like very passionate for. And like I said, I have maybe like a few Bad Bunny songs that I'll really like go to bat for. And
Mhm.
if I can reference one specific feature that I love is like his collaboration with Grupo Frontera with
Mhm.
un 100%. And
Mhm.
so I'll maybe put that in your inbox tonight after we're done talking, because I think it's one of the best songs I've ever heard, and they came out only last year. And just
Oh,
like
wow.
them working together on that song does is great for culturally, because it mixes, like Bad Bunny's like Puerto Rican style, which is like the regional Mexican style of like Grupo Frontera. So like it's very much like what happens with Bad Bunny is that like truly like the statement of a rising tide raises all ships is possible with an
Mhm.
artist of that magnitude, and everyone kind of like latched onto him in a way that and other artists from like his like background and like genre choice were unable to do. Like for like, and I apologize if this sounds ignorant, Bad Bunny is essentially like the millennial version of Daddy Yankee. You know what I'm saying? Because Daddy Yankee's in like his 50s at this point, and Bad Bunny's
Yeah.
more or less our age. But we've spent enough time just like detouring on that specific detail. Let's get to work. We have at least 300 albums to shout out by name. So let's get started with the official list. We'll go from album 100 to 76, starting with Body Talk by Robin, Hotel California by Eagles, Astro World by Travis Scott, Rage Against the Machine, self-titled, Pure Heroin, Lord, Confessions, Usher, Untrue, Burial, Solange, Seat at the Table, Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator, Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1, George Michael, Back in Black, AC/DC, The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. I Put a Spell on You, Nina Simone. Blue Lines by Massive Attack. My Life by Mary J. Blige. Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves. Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg. Horses by Patti Smith. Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. The Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. Like a Prayer by Madonna. And Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny. So before we go any further, let's skim over once. The idea is that we remove 20 albums from this list. And I figured we'd at least, and I'm going to keep track on my notepad of what we do and do not want to keep from this album. So does anything jump out at you as far as you get to pick one? You get to pick two, one that you really, really like from this bundle, and one that you really don't like from this bundle. What do you think?
Okay, I guess I guess in terms of like starting off with the positives of this list. I mean, of course, me, which where my taste kind of can at times veer into, even though even though I would argue, I guess controversially argue that there were superior albums from this kind of subgenre scene that was developing in the UK around this time. But an inclusion that I still can't help but respect is definitely Massive Attack's Blue Line. Massive Attack, Massive Attack, though like I feel that they would definitely continue to evolve and progress. But what a group like Massive Attack really kind of meant for in the UK around that time, a UK that was also kind of dealing with the Manchester scene, what we would refer to as the shoegaze scene, and Britpop hadn't yet really like become a thing yet. But you could see it developing in, say, a band that would also debuted around the same year as Massive Attack, Blur. But why? But Blue Lines, it's one of those, I don't know, much like Tricky, a fellow, someone who is also seen as a contemporary to Massive Attack and his wonderful debut album. I feel like it's one of those albums that, as much as it rightfully gets praised and is acclaimed, in a way, because it was so kind of different, even for its in a different even for kind of its own time. I think it's easy to be acclaimed, but I don't think it really gets as appreciated as much as it possibly should, But so seeing it get a shout out on that list, I think is absolutely wonderful. But yeah, and another album that I completely agree with its inclusion, and I had even put it on my own list.
No, then save it. Save it for no. Don't even shout it out. You shout it out, Mass Effect, as like your positive. What's your negative?
Negative. Okay, man. Shoot, man.
Do you need more time? Because I can go off.
No. Yeah, no. Well, the negative thing, it's like, dog. People are gonna want to hunt me down if I was like,
fuck them,
real, and it's just
fuck them.
It's like, I know why this album was acclaimed. I was there.
Stop being so goddamn polite, Olor. Please go in on these assholes. You don't have to justify your you are allowed to feel the way that you freaking feel, my friend. You don't have to justify shit to these dickheads. They're not paying your rent. Tell them how you feel, baby.
Sometimes I feel Astroworld gets a bit too much hype. Just keeping
Okay,
it real.
okay.
Just keeping
Now, knowing that you want to, and like, frankly, do you really think Travis Scott fans give a fuck what we think? They're not. They're not as mobilized as a Nicki Minaj or Beyonce fandom are. So, like, if you had to replace that album with any other release of Travis's, would you put like the previous two albums of his? I would say maybe the first one, maybe, but that would be
yeah,
the only
yeah.
other justifiable release. Rodeo. So would you put Rodeo in its place?
Yeah. Jeez, sorry. The siren
I
just
guess the
went out.
pigs really love Travis Scott.
Damn, damn, man. Jeez, it is just happening tonight. Uh, geez, I think Rodeo
Straight up.
definitely. Rodeo showed Travis Scott that was clearly very that was at his hungriest, not only at his hungriest, not only
Oh
just in terms of career,
my, oh
but
my.
honestly, but hungry in a way that's like I don't know if his music has ever been as compelling in a way as it has in and since the rodeo days. It's like, especially in light of his recent release, his recent release, which definitely was him trying to reflect on his past hardships, publicly and privately. But it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just something about the excess in which he kind of surrounds himself in, both musically and personally. But it's just, I don't know. It just hasn't really been all that compelling for me. And Astroworld, while very ambitiously and expansive, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like the way people talk about Astroworld sometimes, it's not even. It's like I get it, but I always have this fear that something's just being lost on me. Maybe because I've just never really kind of been living that kind of Travis life, and I don't know if I'm really aspiring, if I'm in any way that kind of aspiring for it right now. But it never really could connect with me. It was impressive, it was technically impressive, but it never really kind of stuck with me. And it's something where its charms feel even more lost on me now, especially a certain song with a certain who we kind of spent this entire summer,
Let's talk about it because I want to talk about it. I am okay with like taking Astro World off this list. Um, let's call a spade a spade. Sickle Mode is a really fun song. It has been described as the hip hop of Bohemian Rhapsody. And
yes.
as a person who enjoyed that song, I don't have a problem with that. But knowing what we do know now about Aubrey Graham, it's like I said it yesterday in a personal conversation with a friend that because if we are to believe everything that Kendrick said about this man, he's on the same level of predator as a Robert Kelly or Bill Cosby. So how do you like combat that particular? How do you combat that? How do you keep? So what do you do as a response to that? Personally, whether we liked it or not, we're not discussing a single song by this man that he was in or featured on. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Heavy.
So like, yeah, like I definitely as much as you mentioned Rodeo would be a better album to put on this list. And I think of all the great times in my own life that I enjoyed listening to Antidote and watching him perform it live on Jimmy Kimmel with Mike Dean on the keys, seeing all like his fans just go like bananas over that particular song. I feel like there are a lot more like enjoy, like you heard me earlier singing like oh this my side earlier from that album. I feel like there are a lot more cooler moments from Rodeo that I go back to personally that like because like the problem with Travis Scott, he's a cult of personality, and if you're not in like the Travis Scott cult, like there's nothing to be gleaned. And like there's this one particular like Nav verse on Astroworld that's just mixed extremely poorly, almost like he's not even there, in the same way that like the verse by Chitty Bang wasn't acknowledged on the first like Big Sean album. And that's like a real like Deep cut for those who were there in
Yeah.
2011. Neither here nor there. Fuck Big Sean. If you know, you know. But like this, again, like especially with like Utopia being a bomb, in my opinion, like it didn't like do well. It didn't do well upon reception, in my opinion. And like I think Eric the Young God said it best when he said that Travis Scott is a rapper that doesn't have anything to rap about. He should have just made.
Yeah.
He should have like if I'm Travis Scott, especially after like the whole like disaster at his festival, I'm not like putting another album out. I'm just like making beats full time. And like I think everything would have been fine if he had just done that. But he puts out Utopia and does that really shitty performance at the Grammys. Because like frankly,
Yeah.
if you don't want, because like, and here's what I want to say about that, right? Because like you have no fucking energy.
Because we both talked about it. We both
did.
Kind of like we both talked
reflecting upon our own conversation and my own thoughts. If Travis Scott isn't allowed to be Travis Scott, why is he performing on television? Respectfully. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not here to discuss whether he's guilty or not for the deaths of those people. May they rest in peace. But the fact remains, if Travis Scott can't be Travis Scott on TV, if the songs aren't going to match the energy he's been known to give, I don't want him on my fucking screen. There are far better rappers or performers that need that screen time way more than he does. Get that shit the fuck out of here. There's a reason why Astroworld is on this list and Utopia is not. You know? And frankly, it had like Sicko Mode not become like a popular mainstream hit, I'd have nothing to do with this goddamn album. It has so many, like the streaming numbers are out of this world, but like I attest that to the passionate fan base, because like Travis Scott kind of reminds you of like the kind of just like the surging like passion for artists like a Playboy Carti. You know what I'm saying? Like people who love Playboy Carti often love people like Travis and Uzi Vert and shit like that. Yeah, rightfully so in its own right, but artists like those two in particular are mired in controversy. Specifically DV. I'm not going to get into that for fear of just like triggering any listeners, but like the proof is in the pudding. Making my list was in a hope to like not like trigger a single soul. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to be honest about my interests without like making anybody upset. And sure, maybe that's impossible, but like keeping in mind like basic information that anybody can Google, I wanted to move in such a way. I want to circle back to the Massive Attack just for a moment, because I often like describe myself as an average Joe, an average Jane, what have you. I consider myself like the default American, the default millennial. I consider myself that. And if we're being fucking honest with ourselves, because you acknowledging that particular release by Massive Attack, of course you do, because you're a goddamn hipster. You have the knowledge of like their work, the people working in the group, and the music itself. Your regular American has never fucking heard Massive Attack at all. But you know when they have? When House was on TV, like almost 10 or so years ago. And that's okay. I'm just bearing that fucking in mind. And that album Mezzanine came out in 1990 the fuck 8. I was 6 years old. And my parents aren't that cool. Huh? I have to give it to you for trying so hard to make a safe space for everyone. It's the fucking least I can do. And you were very kind to say so. Oh, by the way, to any listeners who may be listening in the future, subtlesmile.com, subtlesmile.com. DMV listeners, our dear V is doing an event next month in November. Link in bio. It'll be in the comments after this stream is over. Subtlesmile.com, subtlesmile.com, the best place in the DMV for art, music, and fashion. Thank you. Back to Massive Attack. I know one song by this band, and specifically it's because I got it for free, right? I think via Google Play. It's their single Protection. And I'm not talking about like the radio edit. I'm talking about the motherfucking how long is this fucking song? I want to make sure I get this right. It's a smattering 7 minutes and 52 seconds. Shout out to Tracy Thorn from Everything But the Girl. That song is one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard in my fucking life. And shout out to that James Brown sample from The Big Payback on it. Like, I didn't know what trip hop was until I met a friend in my personal life who introduced me to Blockhead. And I'm like, yo, who the fuck is Blockhead? And this is when his album Music by Cave Light had an unlicensed Charlie Brown sample, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I look for that song everywhere and I cannot find it, and I want it back so bad, but you know you got to pay the piper.
Yeah.
So, thank you for the shout out. Of course, bro. Like we gotta put on for all of our creators out here trying to get to the bag, son. Um, but yeah, so like we'll leave Massive Attack alone for now. I think the only other artist I want to like just like a sneak diss before we move forward is Lana Del Rey, because I know like people who love her work like that album in particular, but I guess can't get over how fucking silly that album is. Like, why call your? Because I think she got a Grammy nomination for that album, and like she got one of the big
Yeah.
Grammy nominations for that album. And my thing is, if you
It's
somehow
generally
like,
considered. Yeah.
if my whole thing is like, don't name your album something so silly if you know it's gonna be read on television. That's my whole shit. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear Norman effing Rockwell on like the Grammy like televised event. It's so silly. I can't get, and like I love silly. I love comedy. I love hee. I love being edgy. But like I can't get over the fact that like Lana Del Rey cried on Instagram about women of color and black people and other women of color just being more popular than she is, knowing that she is not a mainstream marketable artist. Lana Del Rey, this is me directly to you. Know your fucking lane. You are very talented, and like your fans love what you do, but like why the fuck did you have to like essentially bitch and moan about your position in the industry? Yeah, people sneak diss you when you popped out on SNL, but you proved them wrong because like your shit's really good. So I'm like, I don't like the idea of someone like, you know, who's like huge in like hipster spaces to be like, nah, I need more. And like I'm all for like you talking your shit, but you had like sneak diss artists who had nothing to do with your like your gripes with your place in your career. That I never got over this shit.
Yeah, and some being artists that she had already collaborated with on, like, I don't know if she, I think she
No,
was
not
like
Charlie's Angels single. Yes, I know.
yeah, and it was like, yo, you couldn't have like DM'd them or something like, hey, this is not like, I might say your name, but it doesn't really apply to you like that. It's not about you. It's about the industry.
It's clear that she's not that fucking person, because that motherfucker is greedy.
You know,
I hate a
yeah,
greedy motherfucker, respectfully.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That shit really gets under my skin. And not to say nothing of your political leanings. You know what I'm saying? Like, that ain't none of my business. I'll let someone who knows her mess more than I do to like speak on that. But just like, dog,
Mm-hmm.
I want to take off this fucking list just for like that outrageously ridiculous name for an album, because I think it's so goddamn silly. And it's also just one of like the more newer projects of hers that I feel like hasn't had enough time to like marinate. But I have to bear in mind that once that record came out, it was loved upon arrival, even if I never fucking heard it.
Yeah.
So I want to bear that in mind. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
We really do this shit because we're only already half an hour into the stream. We have so much fucking music to talk about. Jesus Christ. There may be a part 2 after all. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah.
Next 25 albums. Big fucking shout out to our goats, Solange and Tyler. And for the goddamn record, that new Tyler album is getting a fucking Grammy nomination next year. I won't be watching the ceremony for political reasons, but Chromacopia, holy moly. Hey, Olor, if you haven't heard it, put that shit on tomorrow morning. Like,
yeah.
holy cow. It's so good. Like,
yeah.
That boy Tyler is on a streak.
Yeah, I'm believing the hype. I mean, like, as soon as I just kind of saw the whole visual concept of it, it definitely kind of took me to a place where, and it's also more because I will snitch it. Well, okay, the album came out yesterday, so I don't think I'm betraying anyone by saying I haven't listened to it yet.
I'm telling you right now, tomorrow morning, put that shit on. Like, I know you like to go on walks. Leave the crib. Do not come back to listening to that fucker. You have to hear this shit. It's a must-hear record.
And but I've been hearing some of the, I guess, I don't know, quote unquote spoilers and stuff like that. But as soon as I kind of saw the visual concept of it, I'm like, yo, is he going to be like kind of like digging a tad bit deeper into a part of his family background that he does not usually speak about in the most kindest of way? And then I saw a tweet
Yes,
that, and I was like, oh, okay. So I wasn't. So it was at that moment. So I was like, oh, so I wasn't just reaching. I wasn't just reaching. He's really going to be like kind of like talking about certain stuff in his family life, which
he's talking
I
about his absentee father. Yes,
exactly. And I
you don't
was
have to be
like,
so freaking polite, dog.
yeah, I just like I don't know. I try
Baba
to
Yaga is not
acknowledge.
coming for us. We are protected
Yeah,
by we are protected by the divine spirits. Okay, respectfully.
okay. But okay, so I was like, all right, because I don't know how many. Okay, I mean, I'm not like because I don't like unless you're like a Kendrick Lamar or something like that. I think like mainstream rappers, which we can call Tyler mainstream. Like we can. I mean, you
Yes.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
like
not in the sense that he's nationally syndicated, but like as an artist is just as an artist who's just demanded attention from from the first like release of his official like from Goblin. He was like, I'm here, and you're going to like know my presence even if you won't stream my music on air.
yeah, and my reaction to that was like, because like once again, unless you're like a Kendrick Lamar, I think American mainstream rappers really kind of playing up on their cultural ancestral roots. It doesn't. I'm not saying it
It
doesn't
does not happen.
happen.
It doesn't happen. It's okay to say that
Okay,
it doesn't.
so that was what was really kind of taking me back about it, and what I loved,
We are
and what I
black
was
in this
like,
motherfucker,
yeah,
baby.
and I was like, all right, I was like, all right, this is because I was thinking, yo, where do you go after your call me if you get lost? I'm like, how deeper do you go? Because it's like we know where you are at this stage of your life. And it's a stage in your life that's, I mean, we can't see the future, but it's a stage in your life which we can safely assess that this is, I won't call an end game, but okay, this is a stage in your life that will somewhat be this is your new norm. So it's like, how deeper do you go after you have reflected so much on your new norm? And he has, and well, and it seems to me that he has found a very fascinating way to keep playing on that, and I completely salute that.
Here's the thing, fam. The idea is, from my naive perspective, when you're releasing music, when you're creating something, the idea is to do your best. And
Mhm.
that's what we got from Tyler on Call Me If You Get Lost. He did like he fulfilled like I specifically recall seeing a radio like video, a video of like Odd Future in a radio station with DJ Drama, and Tyler
Mhm.
was like, I want a Gangsta Grills. And Drama said no. And like listening to interviews about like the behind the scenes of Call Me If You Get Lost,
Mhm.
after Igor, Tyler's right. Speak reaches out to Drama saying, I'm ready for a Gangsta Grills. And Drama says, I agree, let's cook. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Album
Yeah,
does
man.
as well as it does. And and
Mhm.
then like after that, I'm thinking, I don't need anything more from this man. He's already given me so much. Then we get like the deluxe version of Call Me If You Get Lost. All those songs are great. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
so cool. Moving on with my life. I happen to see that Tyler's dropping a new shoe. I'm like, damn, if it came in my size, 16, I'll buy it because it looks neat. I think I see like I hear that like there's an album coming. I try not to oversell it because I'm like, odds are it will be of quality. I put the
Yeah.
motherfucker on yesterday and I'm like, he's at least getting a nomination if he doesn't end up taking the win. Here's how I feel. If Tyler doesn't win like the rap Grammy next year, it needs to go to a woman or MC. It needs to go to a woman MC. Not there is not a single rapper in America right now, other than Kendrick, that's like demand, and maybe Ka, rest in peace, Ka, that's like demanded
Yeah,
my
that's
attention like any of the women in hip hop. Like these dude bros, they have lost the plot. I heard Ab Soul's gonna drop soon. I could give a fuck. Respectfully, I'm not that interested. I haven't been interested in an Ab Soul release in some time right now. If it's good, you know, like, hey, go in peace with your God. But I don't care as much as like with Tyler. It's fucking personal to me that like my goat is still like firing off on all cylinders. He has not missed, and I don't expect him to miss. No pressure, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping he doesn't drop like the next fucking 3 years, because I feel like this is how it's supposed to be. Like your favorite artist gives you a brand new album, you love it like straight like right away, and then like, because I've already watched like my first reaction to the album from another like Tyler stan, and I can't wait to just like play some of these things. I can't wait to. I hate my job, right? I can't wait to go back to my job and tell one of my favorite coworkers like, "Yo, that new Tyler though." I can't wait to go to like the old heads who hate new school rappers and be like, "That new Tyler the Creator album is a necessary listen." You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I hate about old heads and like the black community who love hip hop saying, "Oh, these new niggas sound like shit." It's your fault. Sorry, but like if you think that new school rappers suck, it's your fault. If like the 90s and early 2000s were so great for hip hop, where are any of those rappers right the fuck now? Honestly, in the sense that you're responsible for protecting and guiding the new school, and none of y'all are here. None of you old heads are present or actively critiquing or providing guidance to the new school. What so the fuck ever? All of you old heads are hating, and I hate every single one of you for that. And if it isn't based in a place of like bitterness or trauma or disillusionment, it's because like you are jealous, you are envious, and I rebuke you for those things, because that is the crux of it. Is like, wow, like I'm not cool anymore. Therefore, anything y'all do can't be quite as cool, even though hip hop is still, as we speak, the most popular genre in the fucking world. And this is why when like they did that whole like they had to like speed run like the last 50 years of hip hop on award shows, because y'all, the reason why we don't have goddamn recipes is, one, you didn't protect them, and one, you didn't like you didn't preserve, protect, or pass them on to people like myself and Olor. Like, obviously, well, not Olor, because Olor actually gives a fuck about rap in all forms of it, but like a regular person like myself who took years of just like self-hatred. Like the old heads in hip hop could have prevented my self-hatred. Certain acts are kind of like immune to like this rant, but for the most part, like a significant chunk of cats who just like shit on the new school, like the new school is the way it is because of y'all, because of your lack of participation. You can't just like shit on the new school and be surprised that you don't like it. Fucking A, dude, that shit really grinds my fucking gears. And here we have V saying Kendrick Lamar is the best, and like there's no debate to be had. Honestly, it's like it's already like an established fact that like he's a deified act. Like I brought up before in the past that like Kendrick was the guy who embraced Earl and Tyler really early. It was the guy who ran into them at a like it was that time when Tyler and Earl did that Earl Wolf set on like the Eminem tour, and it was that video, that viral video of like Earl and Tyler meeting Doom like showing them love and respect, them getting emotional about it, and Kendrick was like, "Yo, I'm a fan," to those two guys. And like, hey, and shout out to fucking Earl, like popping out in that and popping, and like, cause this is what I love about new school rap, right? You have Earl, who's one of the most like poetic, like esoteric rappers of his time, and all of like his associated acts are just off the beaten path, like experimental rappers, like dudes like Mavi, Mike, La Cousteau, and like that new track they put out together, La Cousteau and Earl. When Earl has that viral bar of "I ain't okay, but I'll be all right. We're on the corner like Israelites," and I'm like, bro, he really is that guy. And like, in the sense that like he wisened up about the world around him, and moved in a
Yeah.
different direction than everybody else in his graduating class. Who's to say he could have been just as like prevalent as a Danny Brown if he wanted to be? Nah, he took like he's like a Roni in like this hip hop shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Man, I really got fucking sidetracked. Quick note, before we move on from like to the next block, I see that Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves is here. I'm a Casey Musgraves fan. She did not deserve to win Album of the year she was eligible for it. Respectfully, that's some backstage politics that shit if I ever did see it. And I fuck with some Casey Musgraves. And like I fucking remember specifically seeing Taylor Swift and Casey Musgraves seated together. And like you could see just like the anxiousness on Musgrave's face, like, shit, am I gonna win this award? And Taylor's like, you next. Taylor looking at her like, you're good, you're fine, you're next up. Like I in my heart, I feel like Taylor Swift is like, you next up, and you're gonna carry the crown. And like Musgraves makes music for like actual like country acoustic singer-songwriter enjoyers. Like Swift, she's like as popular as like French fries at a fast food restaurant. She's very, very fucking mainstream. Musgraves is not. You will hear her songs in big box stores across the country, but she is not a household name. But like two things, but here's the thing. The songs are really good, and she's really easy on the eyes. And I don't think that's a mistake. You know what I'm saying? I do not believe that the first two Musgraves records will be as heralded as Golden Hour, but I think I have the same problem with this album as I do with Norman fucking Rockwell. It feels almost too new to be here, but it is like a necessary album for all like starter pack country fans. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if like, because you and I, we don't have a lot of friends who are like obsessed with the genre. I know maybe one person in my professional life who loves that genre. I don't know if they listen to Musgraves, because I think that country fan in my professional life is more focused on like the dude bro portion of that genre, which I absolutely despise.
Like the Morgan
specifically
Wallen
the Morgan Wallens and such. Yes, it is what it is. It's neither here nor there. I'm just like, I'm happy to see Musgraves here, but I'm like, damn, of all like the underrated art, I don't like, because she's underrated kinda, but not completely underrated, if that makes any sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, for those who are like in the music realm, reading all the magazines, on all the blogs, on social media, of course you know who Musgraves is. But like, I know that her big single, like High Horse, it burns out, and it makes me so sad, because I remember where I was the first time that I heard it. It was from a fan of her music, and not from a big box store. Because once I heard her music like outside of work, when I heard it at work, I'm like, oh, this is great, but it does not pass the retail test. It can't be played every single day. You got to sparse that shit out, and that to me means it's not like a best album of all time qualifier. I'm not sure I want to take it off just yet. I will go back to it. One other thing I wanted to say before we move on. I'm so sorry. I'm going out on a tangent here. How fucked up is it? How like, not fucked up, but like how bonkers is it that like I was in third grade, I joined like the public school system, like for the first time. I left that same year. I skipped fourth grade to be homeschooled again, because I couldn't handle like the cultural shock. But I specifically remember one of my classmates, I think, sorry to like I don't know, I won't say his name. There's this one like white kid in my class that was like singing like the hook to Many Men by 50 Cent on Get Rich or Die Trying. And I'm like, why does he keep saying blood in my eyes so I can't see? Because he wasn't going to say, a nigga's trying to take my life away, many men. But he kept saying, blood in my eyes so I can't see. And I'm like, what the fuck is he talking about? And just like hearing that sample and just hearing that song, I'm like, this is truly like a certified hood classic. Like, wow, there are just so many joints on that album that, even though like as a man, I do not respect 50 Cent. Respectfully, like, I remember you taking selfies with Tekashi 6ix9ine, my boy Curtis. I'm on your ass, but like, I'm sorry, but like, man, that man knows how to put together a goddamn single. Had no business going head to head with you know who in 2008, but like, that's how much sway he had. Like, I wasn't. I have such a hard time remembering my past. That is a
Mhm.
keystone memory, and that is the power of fucking hip hop. And it's like, man, shout out to
Yeah.
fucking hip hop, dog.
Yeah,
Have
and and I can speak about my experience like listening to Get Rich or Die Trying like when it came out because I had
fuck you. How did you get access to that when we were in elementary school?
well, I didn't have the CD, but I had an older cousin who
Right,
did,
you have like
and
3 brothers. I forgot about that.
yeah, so I had an older cousin who did, and yeah, hey, I love the singles, man. The singles,
We all do.
like look at you cannot like we can talk about like 50's consistency as an artist, and whether or not he was an example of his own hype kind of getting ahead of him and stuff like that. But you listen to that, you listen to Get Rich or Die Trying, and
That's right.
he's a man who was absolutely hungry. He was absolutely hungry with ambition, and also absolutely hungry in terms of like destroying anyone who he considered a threat. So
Literally.
yeah, being 10 years old and hearing hearing those very, very direct Ja Rule disses, I was like, oh man, I was like, oh wow, he really does not like this guy. And because he doesn't like this guy, he's good, and we all like him. It's making us harder for us to like that guy, and that was the
It's
power. I mean, okay,
murder.
yeah, of course, it also helps that he was co-signed by Eminem and Dr. Dre and all that stuff. But
Oof.
it's like it was such a deadly combination. It's such a deadly combination, alongside with guys who were like Eminem, like the same year that Get Rich or Die Trying comes out is also the same year Eminem literally wins an Oscar for 8 Mile. Like, there
Yeah, because
was
Langston was on the soundtrack and shit.
yeah, Wangsto is on the soundtrack, and it's like,
Damn,
you
Mide.
know,
In high school, you
his
was the man, Mide.
yeah, his so it was one of those things where that album was an unstoppable force, and like, look, you still can't front on how much of an unstoppable force that album was. There's a reason why 50 Cent can go on a legit world tour all around the world, especially in countries where people like us are completely microscopic, and can go to sold out shows, man. And I don't know. I mean, I have my own conflicted relationship with 50,
Yeah, fuck
which
power.
yeah, not going to get into that. Not going to get into that right now. But not going to get into that right now. But it's like,
Scandal acknowledged. Scandal
uh,
acknowledged.
yeah, but sometimes, like, look, sometimes, like, you can, like, his talent is one thing, the talent of the people behind him is another thing, but sometimes timing timing is its own character. And that is what I can really say for the pandemonium that was Get Rich or Die Trying. That even, yeah, once again, yeah, should he have gone after, it was a boneheaded move going after Kanye like that. It was, even though I don't mess with either of y'all like that at this point, but
Nowadays. But like
you know
I think
yeah,
like it's one of those things where like history needed that at that time. We needed
yeah, exactly,
I feel like it was like I feel like it was like the wake up call that old heads refused to acknowledge, because like
yeah,
there are like such things as like unstoppable forces, and
yeah,
like no empire can like last for too long. Either like
yeah,
either you decide to stop like a Kendrick, or like history itself is like, okay, that's enough. You had enough time on the mic. I'm giving it to someone else, like a
mhm,
Mr. West.
mhm.
Hey, speaking of time, I can already feel in my bones that we are not going to like get to our lists. I can already feel like this is going to be a 3-stream series. Let's not overextend ourselves. We're going to get to the end of like this, like the official list. Take out our 20. We're still gonna take out our 20, but like we'll come back in November. I was on the phone with you, like, yeah, this is probably like gonna be our last stream of the year. Fuck that. We're coming back in the winter. We're coming back with a goddamn Hey, in the words of my boy from Game of Thrones, man. Winter is coming. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's keep this shit moving for real.
Yeah.
Number 75. We're gonna go all the way down to 51. Super Duper Fly by Missy Elliott, The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails, Aja by Steely Dan, SOS by SZA, Trans Europe Express by Kraftwerk, Straight Outta Compton by Niggas with Attitude, Master of Puppets by Metallica, Is This It by The Strokes, Dummy by Portishead, The Queen Is Dead by The Smiths, 3 Feet and Rising by De La Soul, rest in peace, Trugoy. Baduism by Erykah Badu, Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience, All Eyes on Me by Tupac, Love Deluxe by Sade, The Velvet Underground and Nico, self-titled, AM by Arctic Monkeys, What's the Story? Morning Glory by Oasis, Voodoo by D'Angelo, Disintegration by The Cure, Anti by Rihanna, Love Supreme by John Coltrane, Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones, Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses, and Sign of the Times by Prince. If you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead and get started with like shit that I don't think belongs here. Starting with Kraftwerk, if I'm being honest. And if only to say, again, everyday average Joe motherfuckers do not listen to Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk makes music for hipsters and dance hall dummies, like people who are just obsessed with like dance music in every form. You know what I'm saying? EDM, IDM, like trance, progressive house, what have you, like the Detroit sound, Jersey, Baltimore. Like, if you love dance music, this is why you listen to Kraftwerk. That's for real, like just like dance nerds. Regular people do not know Kraftwerk. You know why? Because I don't know a single song by Kraftwerk. I know they play all the freaking festivals. I love that they have a very specific look about the way they perform in real life. Not a single person in my life has been like, you have to hear this Kraftwerk song or album. Get that shit the fuck out of here. That's going to the list. Respectfully. Like, I don't know them. And I would like to someday, but I don't. And I'm like, get this shit out of here. Like, it's very much, if you're going to be on the like 100 best albums of the year, how easily could I explain your music to my mother? I can't explain Kraftwerk to my mom. And she grew up in the 70s. Stop playing with me, dog. Respectfully.
I don't know, like, but wasn't she hanging out at the disco clubs like everyone else?
No, my mom was a Baptist woman, boy. Heck no.
Okay.
Here's the thing. She studied dance like in college, but she was too busy getting to the back to be going out to the clubs. And if she was, ain't none of my business. I know enough to know about my mom. She just died. My mom, my parents are the reason why I love music so much. They did not tell me. They did not tell me about no Kraftwerk. I don't think they really like had too many like white artists that they like love besides like the kind of like stereotypical ones like Bobby Caldwell and like Michael McDonald and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
All notes and shit. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Make the argument in the comments if you think that Kraftwerk belongs on this list, because I don't think that you can. Respectfully, to the average Joe, no fucking shot, dude. Straight up.
Okay. As a my hip hop loyalty kind of speaking to itself, and by proxy, it also is part of why yes, I will not act as if I know Kraftwerk's deep catalog like that, but Kraftwerk is for me is always kind of going to get a pass. For they were being a legitimately talented. Okay, yes, just them being a legitimately talented act, and all they did for electronic music in general, and that and B, like so many early hip hop records like straight up sampled Kraftwerk. Like
word, I will acknowledge that. I will. I'm a fool to forget that important fact. But we can't go to a specific joint. We can't go to a single specific song like, oh, that is the Kraftwerk song. Motherfuckers don't know what that is, so they can't be here.
Okay. Well, I know with the album that with one of the albums that have been mentioned that you know oh boy, isn't it a good thing I'm not on Tumblr anymore, because oh boy, with the
Logging in tonight. Fuck all
folk,
that.
with the Tumblr folks have me as public enemy number one, and public enemy number one, but I guess I gotta speak my piece. What do y'all really like that Arctic Monkeys album like that? Like
Here,
on the
wait, okay.
like, y'all really love that Arctic Monkey. Like, okay, I know. Look, I was there in 2013. I remember when it was like, oh, do I want to know? And it getting played in beer commercials. I think wrestling promos, and I get it, but it's like remember, like I maybe because I know we talked about this on our 2015 list when I put like Foles Day, when I put Foles like mountain on my gate there. And yes, there's the sentimental reason why I like that song, but but it's like everything. It's like everything that like, do I want to know? Do I want to know? Feels like it was trying to do was something I felt Mountain on My Gates actually kind of succeeded with. And I'm sorry, that song, even in 2013, I was just like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. It's just,
look here.
But then but then, to be honest, that was always kind of my relationship with Arctic Monkeys, where I respected them. I got what they were doing. I can name you Arctic Monkey songs that I like. I think Pile Driver Waltz. I like both versions of Pile Driver Waltz, but I will admit to kind of preferring the Arctic Monkeys version. And yet, for the life of me, it's like, man, be very honest with me. Y'all, okay, even taking away Do I Want to Know, which was the big rock hit of 2013, arguably. Like y'all were really listening to AM like that? Like AM really stuck with y'all like that? Like, I mean, I'm out. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. I'm out of the loop. I mean, whatever. I got to like I know when I can say something that's controversial. I mean, I saw the When We Were Young your festival list for next year, and I was not.
I have discourse.
I was not. I was not respectful towards it. Someone said some stuff like really disrespectful about some of the bands that I know some of y'all have lots of sentimental memories from high school about.
Odds are they're probably canceled.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, I co-signed it. I co-signed to disrespect 100%, man. So
yeah, send me those motherfucking tweets. Yeah, send those tweets to me. Send those tweets to me because I'm probably gonna retweet them and quote tweet them as well. Hey, I gotta stop you real quick.
Yeah.
Here's the thing about AM, and here's the thing about Arctic Monkeys, right? Arctic Monkeys is again one of those artists where like this is like the album where they became like a mainstream. Motherfuckers were not listening to Arctic Monkeys in America before this album, except for weirdos and hipsters.
My brother was.
No,
my brother
and
was.
Skater Boy does not count because Skater Boy has taste, and that's not me trying to glaze Skater Boy. Skater Boy is a real deal rock and roller. You smell me? He does not count. You know what I'm saying? And I know several people in my life who are like Skater Boy in the sense that like. A lot of like again, real eaters, real hipsters, real indie people love them some fucking Arctic Monkeys. They do not count. Like AM was their album for like regular people, for civilians, for NPCs. I remember Miley Cyrus covering that fucking band and like BBC Radio and shit like that. That's this album for them. And I wanted to say something really edgy that like I miss when British rock was like sounded like British rock. because like you mentioned Mountain at My Gates by Foles. I fucking hate that song because it sounds like Imagine Fucking Dragons. I miss when Foles sounded like another like sounded like they sounded kind of like Block Party, you know, just like that just like that that alt experimental math rock that had a bit of a gallop to it. Like, frankly, I listen to maybe 2 full songs consistently. One from their first album and one of their more newer singles, Wake Me Up. I don't listen to Foles. And I know they have a deep-ass discography. But a lot of like those bands, including fucking Arctic Monkeys, because Arctic Monkeys was running circles around these other rock acts, these garage rock acts. They used to really kick ass. And I tell everyone that I know who loves music about the time when I lived with my friends. Like I was sleeping on my friend's floor after I finished radio school, and he was passionate about 3 bands: Linkin Park, Talking Heads, and Arctic Monkeys. And he's like, "Yo, Old Yellow Bricks by Arctic Monkeys is one of the best songs I've ever heard." And I said, "I don't give a fuck." In like the most disrespectful way possible. In the same way, he's like, "Yo, Remain in Light, this is a really good album." And I'm like, I don't give a fuck, because I was only interested in my own bullshit, which was really rude of me, by the way, because when our friendship ended and I put on those songs to like restore the feeling of our friendship, I'm like, he was right. This music is so good. And so like when I hear like, because for me, do I want to know? Boring. And it's another example of like British dude. It's another example of just British dudes doing an American impression better than Americans. Because let's make some motherfucking money.
But isn't that also what's kind of annoying about it? Like,
no, here's my thing. Because I don't think it's good, I don't pay any attention to it. But again, this is rock for regular people. This is rock for people who don't really like feel that shit in their veins. You know what I'm saying? This is rock as a fashion statement. You know what I mean? This is that's
all I can just that's all I can describe it. Fashion statement.
This is the album you buy at like Urban Outfitters. You know what I'm saying? For you're being overcharged on this particular album. Here's what I will say though. From this particular release, the singles Are You Mine and One for the Road, that shit kicks fucking ass. Those songs are really, really good, in my personal opinion. The rest of the album, I ain't listening to that shit. And I got a copy of AM from one of my ex-girlfriends. And I'm like, I should listen to this at some point. I never fucking did, because I don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, much like the Casey Musgraves record, it's like, well, not in the sense that like it's been around, it just got here, because like, one thing about like Arctic Monkeys, they kind of like, they didn't like wear out their welcome. They just kept on trying shit. And like once it stopped working out, like they just stopped making music, I guess. And like you can catch them at every like big European festival and shit like that. But they're kind of like, I kind of feel like they like, if there's a coin, right, for like indie like white dude rock, on one side is the Arctic Monkeys and on the other side is the Strokes. They are more or less the same band, like just like this disaffected, like dripping with just like good looks and sexuality. Like, hey, let's play some rock music, I guess. Go to the pub and put on a leather jacket. That's the kind of vibe that they have about their shit. But like, I don't know. Like, I'm kind of like, I kind of want to take it off to be petty. Almost. Do you want to take it off for now? Maybe we'll come back to it later.
I mean, like it's an album.
Because you really don't like it, so I think we should like slice it off. Like just for now, we just like fill up the board.
It's a solid album. I can call it solid in of itself. But
you're being polite again.
But 100 best albums, which you are putting in company. It's just like.
Yeah, no shot.
I would deal with me.
Again, like it's definitely like a situation where like if a person's like Arctic Monkeys, should I listen to them? I would say yes. Start from the beginning. Start from the because recently, a person in my romantic life, I was at their house and we were listening to music, and I mentioned Block Party, and they're like, "Who's that? I never heard them." And I'm like, "Whoa, really?" And so I put on Silent Alarm. We listened to a chunk of it, and later on, they're like, "Hey, it really wasn't for me." And I'm like, "That's okay." And like, I'm of course I'm disappointed, but like at
Yeah.
least they gave it a try, and they were like, oh, it sounds like some other shit that I was into when I was younger that I just didn't listen to. And like it could have been any of like the usual suspects. There's so many just like
Yeah.
bands that were just like adjacent to like the Block Party sound. And it's just that Block Party was my specific like indie English band that really like struck a chord with me. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
you again, so you close your eyes, stick out your hand, you're gonna pick up like a garage esque band like the Von Bondies, and you'll have a good time. Like the Mooney Suzuki, like just
Yeah.
that of just like early aught rock music that was on all like the EA Sports games. We were eating
Yeah.
good, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And
It
I
was
want to
a
be
yeah, it was a
I want
major
to be
people.
I want to be explicitly clear. I happen to know for a goddamn fact that on like the Twitter DIY emo like space, there are so many great bands that could scratch that itch for all those cats that are like, damn, all that time. There's this fucker on YouTube. It's hard to say fucker. Like, I know you're like an elder and shit in the industry, but there's this man named Rick Beato who does a lot of just like
Oh, I was just about to talk about that man. Yo,
like, he does a lot of clickbaity, a
yo.
lot of clickbaity bullshit on his main channel,
So,
and like he gets a lot of like important musicians on like his content that I
yes.
feel like more people
Yeah.
should like. But it's I don't like the idea of his approach of like modern music sucks ass. I feel like the industry itself is the reason why we're in this particular predicament. And so it's just like when he put up that video, said, "Where are the bands?" So I'm like, motherfucker, have you been on Twitter.com for like a day? I happen to know at least 50 bands right now who are chomping at the bit to like get in front of an audience to like play their souls out. It is not an issue of like there aren't any bands anymore. There are literally hundreds of acts dying to get out there and do their thing. But the world at large almost makes it impossible. It is you really have to be like it's like it's like that fucking gif of the dude from the Olympics who like pulled out his gun with no handicaps, no accessories, and just like shot at the target wearing a pair of jeans. That's what the music industry is now.
Yeah.
Like, and like, he performed well at that game, but like your average Joe isn't going to do that well. And so like folks really just have to put their bodies and their finances and often their families on the line to maybe guarantee like a mere modicum of success. And again, like that man has a lot of just like knowledge and experience in the industry all the way up till now. But I don't like just like making fun. I don't like tease again because we have motherfuckers like Arctic Monkeys on like putting up AM on this list, and it wasn't their choice to choose this record, but just like that's how like commodified rock music has been. Like we don't like, let alone in our own communities, because again without Kele, where we have black people in bands that were like getting coverage for the most part, like the fact that you have a black person in your band who's not like the vocalist like is a meme across genres. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like obligatory, let alone just being like a woman or feminine person in a band, to be like the obligatory black person in your band. Who baby, like woof. Wow. We went on quite the tangent. Let's get back to the fucking list. I'm kind of I'm just glancing over it. I know that I want Metallica on the list. I can't think of the specific release that I want from them, but I'll leave that to like the real like thrash heads and like Metallica stands to like deliberate upon that. Like it's funny we moan about Arctic Monkeys being here, like the Strokes are here with like their debut album, and personally I would have personally put up the release with Reptilia on it because Guitar Hero 3 changed my life. You know, I was not listening to the Strokes until I heard Reptilia, and to this day, it's one of my favorite rock songs. But again, I'll leave that shit for the fucking hipsters to debate. It's not that big of a deal. Of course, the Strokes in some capacity deserve to be there. I certainly wouldn't pick the Voids, but like, it's passable. I do think we owe it to our audience to like fill up our discard list at least up to 10, because right now we only have 3. We have Travis Scott, Kraftwerk, and Arctic Monkeys. We need to pick like 7 more that do not belong, deserve to be here.
Okay.
Number 64 is Baduism. I would have put Mama's Gun as like the
Yeah,
de
same,
facto.
same.
Yeah. Okay. Then maybe we should
Yeah,
just
yeah,
take
yeah,
off
yeah. I agree. I
Baduism
agree.
because
Yeah.
because I respect Badu.
Yeah, yeah. Same.
But not that particular record. As far because like funnily enough, my parents had a copy of Mama's Gun. That was my introduction to that artist, and like I almost think there almost isn't a single song on this earth that's more romantic than Orange Moon by Erykah Badu. Wow, because like if they play you that, the panties are coming off. Respectfully, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Oh boy,
That's
I'm an orange moon. That record, damn, bruh. Damn.
see, and it,
have,
and it says so much of like how I'm trying to keep. I'm like I'm trying to be honest, but I'm also kind of trying to keep it respectful because if I really wanted to be petty about it, I would have. I would say, yo, I don't give a damn how much that album like raised you. Get Queen is Dead off the list because that's just how much. If I wanted to be petty, but
and
yeah,
listen,
I also had to.
There's only 3. There's only one other person that hates Morrissey more than me, and that's JPEG Mafia.
Yeah, and I
but
was
damn, like,
because
I don't want to just. Here's my thing, because it's so funny you mentioned when we were
because I
young
respect
festival.
Johnny Marr Johnny
Exactly.
Marr like that. Yeah, so that's why we got it in.
I was just about to mention like you name dropped When We Were Young Fest 2025, and one of the headlining acts is Panic at the Disco playing their first album. And for all like the emo fans, that album was primarily written by Ryan Ross, who left the band after their second release. And so I'm happy that that dude might be getting a check. But for those who do not know, like after I'd say about here, let me make sure I have my story straight because I have a lot of like feelings in regards to Panic at the Disco. I want to make sure that I get my thoughts together in a tangible way. Going to the albums. Okay, so in 2016, Panic at the Disco releases Death of a Bachelor, which has some of the band's best songs, but you started to get a whiff of, oh, like this man Brendan Urie wants to be a pop star full time. Like some of those songs on the album are really like have the top 40 stench on them. And so enough to where you kind of ignore it, I suppose. And this was in 2016. And it's so funny because like the last song of the album was Impossible Year. And like, I think that was the year, like, and remember, it came out in January, and that was the year of like Trump's first year as president. Woof, what an omen. And then 2 years later, we got the Pray for the Wicked album. And it has maybe one good song on it that I could that I sincerely like. It was the single Say Amen Saturday Nights. But the single High Hopes like was all over the place, and it felt really like disingenuous to like the whole like Panic brand. What made it kind of like stand out when we were young. And no pun intended. And then just like a litany of just like bad and around like that Death of a Bachelor era of the band, a lot of just like bad press and I'm not gonna say rumors to like disrespect the victims, but like a lot of this bad press came out about Brendan Urie, and it really came to a head in 2018 at like the apex of like his success as a mainstream act. And all he said was, "I'm sorry," and then like left the internet for 4 years. Then he came back and he's like, "One more album, then I'm gone for good." And I think like the scene as a whole was like, "Bitch, we don't want it. Get the fuck out." But still went on a massive tour. I did not hear a single song from that album because I'm like, you don't get to just go away and then come back whenever you want just to like make more money. But that's exactly what he's gonna fucking do next year because people don't like have the context for Brendan Urie's bad behavior because it wasn't like as explicitly aired out as other people in the genre were. And so I'm like, I because I really like that A Fever You Can't Sweat Out record, but like I try not to listen to it if I can like find like the inner strength of saying no. Remember to all the people who are disrespected and like I guess allegedly hurt by Brendan Urie. I don't even want to say that, but I don't want to be sued. You know what I'm saying? Because I do see a person like Brendan Urie like looking to litigate against like a small person like myself. That's like the vibe it's giving and shit like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I guess, but I don't want to snip Queen is Dead because there's too much just like music history.
Yeah.
That's attached to that particular record. But again, from the bottom of my heart, fuck you, Morrissey.
I mean, hey, I mean, he said, guys. He said, guys, I don't have to because he already said it because because Morrissey just absolutely just annoys me to a degree I never thought possible, but keeping it respectful and definitely understanding the history and the talent on display outside of that man, it's like, okay, all right, yes, you do have to acknowledge the Smiths. Okay,
Let's talk about Anti.
And
it's great songs by that album, but is it a good album? No.
I mean, it's
not a good album.
Look, that's the thing. It's like
it's not even the best Rihanna album.
I'm like, because the Rihanna stands that Rihanna
isn't an album girly. She's not.
I understand why that album is special for for the Rihanna ladies. It's like
the ladies, the Rihanna Navy. Let's keep it being.
Yeah. Okay. For the I get why y'all love it. I get why y'all love it, but it's just is this y'all? But I kind of got to that point where it's like, okay, is this because y'all really love this album, or do you just miss your girl like that? Do you know?
Again, I want to shoot the Navy some bail because like
because it's all good if you miss her.
For me personally, like because like I like we have Kiss It Better, we have Work, we have Needed Me, we have Same Old Mistakes, we got Love on the Brain, we have Sex with Me. But like everything else, I don't really care for that much. Like to me, Anti isn't a release where it's like I have to hear all of these songs. There's a lot of really cool shit happening on Anti. Like this is really like this is really like the release where the most effort was placed on a Rihanna album, but it still misses the mark for me personally. Like it misses the mark. Like I only go back for little records I have to hear, but like the whole release does not work for me. And again, we're in a period where I wish, like, because Rihanna clearly could have done like a remix suite for Work and just put on artists from Barbados, from any of just like the West Indian nations. Like that there could have been like a 5-minute just like master cut of people just like doing like their just doing their verses on that song in place of a Drake. Because I love that beat. And it's like one of my supervisors at work. That's her ringtone, and like I feel like Work was that one time when like white people had to confront they know nothing about just like any black culture outside of America. Because it's clearly like it's unfortunately Work is a Trojan horse for just like microaggressions. It's like, oh, like she's not speaking English. What is she even saying right now? Like I feel that's like the immediate just like that's where people I know what these assholes are saying. I know what they're saying because I hear them talk at my job. You know what I'm saying? And so like again, like it's not funny, but like one of my favorite creators on YouTube was doing a video about why does Beyonce receive more flack than a Rihanna? And like here's the reason. Rihanna is not an album girly. You want a single? Shit, she'll give you 10. No question. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and like now, like in the past, like music nerds like, when's Detox by Dr. Dre ever coming? It ain't. Now that conversation has been replaced by is Rihanna gonna drop ever again? And
Yeah,
for my money, I hope she never drops again. Because again, like
same,
she's
same.
one of those artists where it's like scandal acknowledged because her like fashion and makeup brands are like held in very like negative regards by the Better Business Bureau, allegedly. Not trying to be sued, but like folks who
And I,
make those like the band, like again, like the Fenty Savage brand built itself up on like inclusion, but like the workers aren't treated well, or at least are rumored to not have been treated well. I don't
and I,
at least a foul stench in my mouth. You know what I mean?
and I'll put it out there. Why the hell y'all? Why the hell why the hell did you have Johnny Depp at your runway show? Like, what was that about?
Call it out.
What was that
Call it
about?
the
What
fuck
was that
out.
about? Like, what was that about? How does that man in
Yikes.
any way fit to your brand? Fit to your brand? And it's like, okay,
And again, not too much, because like I want to be like
because I'm not,
I want to like
I'm not
be sensitive to like any like victims the
the
DV, because like
victims,
that shit is heavy as fuck.
yeah,
But like
yeah,
simply put,
because
like we like look at the time right now. By the way, we're an hour and a half into the stream. We still have 50 albums to go.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm not gonna, I'm not. Sorry, Johnny Depp.
Look it
I'm
up
not
on
giving.
YouTube, folks.
Yeah, I'm not, and I'm not going to give Johnny Depp any more.
Don't even say his name anymore. Let's just move on.
Attention, yeah. But yeah, okay, but yeah, I get taken off anti. What was your experience with The Cure though?
I don't listen here.
Were you rocking with Disintegration?
I don't want to talk about The Cure because I know virtually nothing about them. My thing about The Cure is this. Robert Smith is one of the most consistent rock stars in our world today. And that is all that I know. Also shout out to the adored one. Thank you for joining us today. The Cure stays. A lot of like their impact and influence across, like they're kind of like the Smiths, where it's like some English rock cannot be touched. And that is one of those groups for me. I don't know shit about them for real. And like I don't mind that I don't. I don't have the range to discuss or like dismiss their work. Here's one thing here's one act I want to dismiss before we go though. I think we should take off Appetite for Destruction.
And I don't really have an argument. I feel like Appetite and Destruction's reputation has been able to live off of its reputation for so long, and in a way it speaks for itself so much that I'm not interested in speaking about it in any way. It's like, okay, it's like,
listen, like here's the thing. I remember like kind of like in how I remember where I was in third grade when I first like heard my first reference to 50 Cent. I remember hearing Welcome to the Jungle on like the radio in middle school for the first time. And like in the same way that kind of like Guitar Hero 3 put the Strokes onto like more fans, like Grand Theft Auto put a lot of like black kids into Guns N' Roses. And like not to say that the songs like Paradise City and like Sweet Child of Mine aren't bad songs, but like I never want to hear Sweet Child of Mine ever again. It's so overplayed. And I've only heard Appetite for Destruction once in college because one of like the friends that I had in that period of my life really glazed it. And I'm like, this isn't really like it doesn't like, it's the same problem I have with Anti as the problem I have with Appetite. Like, yes, Welcome to the Jungle like goes tremendously hard, but like it's like the one good thing it has going for it. And just the strength of one song does not make a good album. And I feel like that's what a lot of these albums are struggling with, in my personal opinion.
All I'll say is, and of course, speaking of the massive talent of a Mr. Slash, is that I feel like there are certain classic albums which I can't deny their classic status. I won't deny their classic status, but I also have to kind of be honest about what my relationship is with those albums, and I'll be honest, I don't really have one. It's not, I like, and yes, I'm well.
Love
Hey,
you.
hey, Mrs. Wallenstein. Hey, Mrs. Wallenstein. I don't look. I don't deny. I don't deny. Hanging around the classic rock spaces that would have gone on and on and on about how amazing Guns N' Roses are, and
Eh,
the wonderful things they did for rock. But it's just all right, cool. I
I
mean,
listen to Velvet Revolver.
look, it was look. I mean, it was. It's like I'm not gonna diss the actual talent. It's just there's certain classic stuff you can come to a place where do you me personally, so I say you subjectively can live without. And
I
Appetite for
can live with no
Destruction is one
GNR
of,
easily.
yeah, I can live without it. I can live without it. So it's, I get why you put it there. I get why Apple put it
I
there.
get
I
why
get why
it's on
people
every
still
fucking
like
t-shirt
it,
in
but
America.
it's like, all right, cool, whatever, man. I mean,
Okay, I guess.
you know, yeah.
Let's move on. Next 25 records. We
Mhm.
have number 50 is Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. 49, The Joshua Tree by U2, followed by Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys. Take Care by Drake. Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Homogenic by Björk. Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Remain in Light by Talking Heads. Control by Janet Jackson. Aquemini by Outkast. I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You by Aretha Franklin. Illmatic by Nas. Tapestry by Carole King. Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan. Beyonce, self-titled. London Calling by The Clash. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy. Kid A by Radiohead. Ready to Die by the Notorious B.I.G. Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish. The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin 2 by Led Zeppelin, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. Oh, so many albums to snippity, snip,
Okay,
snip.
okay. Let's just cut the BS away and say, Take Care out of here. Look,
Take Care the
I
fuck out of here. And hey, I'll be the first to fucking say, scandal acknowledged, scandal acknowledged. Getting just all like the creep allegations out of here, just putting them to the side but not taking them off the table. If we're talking about the best Drake release, why is it not the third one? The one with like his face on it with the blue background. What the fuck is that album
yeah.
called?
Nothing was the same. Nothing was.
I
the
feel
same.
like nothing
Yeah.
was the same as a better release than Take Care. And not to say that Take Care doesn't have its joints or good beats. I just can't get over the fact that the song with Rick Ross, Lord Knows, is that the fucking song? Just the joint where he's like, oh, when she goes in the bathroom, I'm looking through her phone because I don't trust these hoes. It's like, I'm sorry, even if like you're like the guy in the genre, you can't do that shit. And we just let that shit slide. We really let Drake do whatever the fuck he wanted for years.
Oh
And
man,
we're surprised that like so many people are coming to his defense for shit. And we just that was just okay for like motherfuckers to say. And ironically enough, because I was a Drake guy up until Take Care, because he had that one bar. He's like, I write songs we're due to get fucked. So if you're not having sex, like my music's not for you. And that was a version in college. Like, no, I'm triggered by that shit. What do you mean, Drake? I think you're super
like,
cool. I think your beats are so great.
Yeah.
If anything, you thought that Drake was gonna get you girls, which is why you listen to Drake. And he's like, all you virgins, log the fuck out. This is for real ballers only. Like, what? What?
Man,
Granted,
yeah.
I want to say real quick. This is the because I was about to say like that Jamie XX sample on Take Care, like
the title track,
it made me go check out like that remix album with Gil Scott Heron. It made me check that out. And like I love that one song, My Cloud, from that release. So, but like again, like the biggest thing about Drake is that he's gonna like take the most talented motherfuckers in the room and copy their homework. Because not only because the big conversation about this album was like, oh, these beats are great. but all these features are carrying Aubrey. This is when like the
Yeah,
world under Kendrick. This is when mainstream motherfuckers heard The Weeknd for the first time, and that motherfucker is a siren. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Like, this is why Drake wanted to sign this dude, and he was like, "Nah, I'm out of here."
And even talking about the Jamie X Sexton, man, okay, yeah, which the title track featuring Rihanna. It's like I didn't listen to that Gil Scott Heron album when it came out, man. I'm new here. I was
Yeah,
familiar, yeah, and I was already familiar with the remix, so I remember hearing that.
I did
I
not.
remember when I,
How do you know this?
yeah,
Really
yeah. So I remember like seeing the video for Take Care and then hearing the Gil Scott Heron sample. I was like, okay, wait, why is that familiar? Why is that familiar? It's like it's possibly the most interesting part of the song. And it's like, oh my goodness, he took the Gil Scott Heron
the
remix.
beat.
And the thing is, yeah, and you listen to the original. Well, heck, even no, okay. Don't listen to the original Gil Scott Heron version because it's a much more stripped
It's rough.
down. Like, yeah, Gil Scott final album he made in his life, and by all means, he shows that he is on his last mile. But at least go to the remix where like the energy of what what Gil Scott really means when he is talking. Well, because everything Rihanna, because Rihanna's just saying Gil Scott Heron lyrics. That no shade on Rihanna, but that's all she's just saying Gil Scott Heron lyrics, man. Yeah, but like go to that Gil Scott Heron song and really get a feeling of what he means when he is saying, hey, I know you've been hurt by someone else. I see it in the way that you carry yourself. And if you let me in, here's what I'll do. And like, just that was a man who truly lived with the regrets of the broken relationships that unfortunately had to suffer because he talented man, but also a man with his issues. And
to say nothing of like that one song with like the F slur like prominently featured in his own work.
Yes, yeah, and
Woof.
this then that is very much in it, that is very much grappling with self-reflection while also kind of being understanding of the damage that's done. And then with Drake, it's just turned into the most inspit, whiny, like, oh man, whiny, absolutely, just
Milk
junk.
toast.
It felt. I hated it when I was 19. I hated it when I was 19, man. Even when I was 19, I hated it, man.
Let's keep that ball rolling. What was that original rating that Fantano gave Fantasy? Was it a 6?
Oh, yeah, it was a 6.
Justified. And I'll be the
look,
first.
yeah.
I want to take it off just because, like,
Yeah.
no Nazis on the top 100 best album list, like at all.
Yeah.
But here's my thing, because that album came out while I'm in radio school. All of my homies in like the radio class, like, shout out to Chaotic Couture, who drove us around in the minivan, had the album on CD. Like, we were just like, like psychoanalyzing the bars. Like, that was the year that like Fantasy came out. That was the period of time when like the first Pink Friday came out. That was the period of time when Dirty Money came out. That was the period of time when like Carter 4, like the single, like 6 foot 7 foot came out. We were all bumping that. Like, that was that big like space. We're like, yo, like,
yeah,
the leaders of the new school are like taking stock of the land and shit like that.
Yeah.
But
technically Wayne did I'm Not a Human Being in 2010 before Carter 4. So
but that was already on the air. Like that was already like doing numbers, but like we were like gearing up for Carter 4 in like after Not a Human Being was out. But like like there were so many cool things happening like behind the scenes in regards to Fantasy. This was the album that put Pusha T on the map as a solo star and things of that nature. But I mentioned it on a previous stream of ours when like Kanye made All of the Lights. My biggest fucking hang up with this song is that the unedited, like the clean version of this song
Mhm.
has no like substituted word for "a nigga dead" when we clearly could have gone with "the king is dead." It would have made so more sense, because this was also that period of time when white folks were saying like the n-word back to the rappers at concerts and things like that, you know what I mean? So it was just like,
Yeah,
of all
yeah,
the
yeah.
fucking smart lyrical people in Hawaii making this record, nobody suggested "The King is Dead" as the edited version for the song. Because like this is also the era in radio right now where like artists like Glorilla have to like stop themselves from saying like the profanity when they're performing on live TV. And
Yeah.
you specifically have mentioned the time that one Jay-Z song where it's like, "Can I get a what da 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 da
Yeah,
da
yeah,
da da." Like
yeah.
that song sounds better clean than like explicit, because that song is explicitly just like anti-woman. Like, oh my Christ, wow. Like,
Yeah.
as a kid,
Oh
I didn't know
yeah.
what the
Oh
fuck
yeah.
they were
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Do not listen to the explicit version
can I get a fuck you? Like, whoa,
Jigga What. Yeah. Do not listen to
yowza.
the explicit version of Jigga What, because
Who
it's
needed
like
this?
it's 20 times worse. It's 20 times worse. He comes off like a borderline sociopath on that song. Like
He probably, for all we know, Hove is a sociopath, respectfully.
you know, and
Hey,
and
one
it's
more
funny.
thing.
Yeah.
You know what? You first. Don't talk too much. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
because you were talking, because we had briefly talked about Travis at the Grammys and how much
No
that performance
energy.
sucked. And yeah, and my biggest complaint was like, because I think he had Cardi with him, and
No,
it's
Cardi wasn't
his
there.
entire no. No, like
The
because
Fiend? He wasn't
because
there.
wasn't Cardi no.
No.
Yeah, but you didn't see? Did you not see the performance where his verse keeps getting awkwardly bleeped out,
Oh
like
yes.
so you
Oh
can't
yes.
hear so you can't hear 75% of what he's saying because it's all profanity, and nobody at the Grammy said, "Oh, hey, yo, can you like clean these lyrics out?" Because the audience at home, it's just going to be hearing dead air. It's because that's all his performance was, dead air, because they're censoring like 75% of his verses. That's about, and
Whatever Travis
and
Scott
it's
likes to
just
talk about.
annoying. It's just annoying. And yeah, and I think taking it back to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And look, there's a reason I didn't put. Look, there's a reason why. For as much as I will be very honest about how much Kanye was very, very influential and instrumental
Same.
in my teenage life. On my list, I did not put a single Kanye's. Not even
Not a
late
stretch.
registration. Like because at this point.
You can't go back. Not to like say
Yeah,
that, but like
we can't. I can't.
nothing
Yeah,
can be like resuscitated.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and there are people online, and I know there are people online who want to be like, "Oh, yo, man, old Kanye, old Kanye back in the day." That Kanye, it's like, nah,
He was still problematic
like,
then
nah.
too. If we're
Yeah,
keeping it a buck.
like it does it's worthless to me. It's worthless to me now. I say this as someone who still owns a Kanye DVD of him at Abbey Road. It is worthless to me now, man.
You might as well
It's
sell that
worthless to me
shit.
now.
You might as well,
Yeah, I might as
you might as well sell that shit. And here's my thing, because like I'm sure you
yeah.
could net a serious profit with that shit. And I know you're hurting for dough, like link in the bio to like help fundraise for this man's passport. But like
Yeah,
I would personally, I would sell that DVD, keep half the profits because like you held it for all this time, but then donate the rest
yeah,
of like don't donate half the proceeds to charity, because like
yeah,
in the grand scheme it doesn't really like do much, but just like it's symbolic, because like far too many like marginalized groups of people like fall under the axe due to like just like the ignorance of this man and the work that he's done.
yeah,
And count three on my hands right now, bro.
and
So I'm like,
yeah, and even okay, and look, hey, I was there with My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I understood how much of a revelation it was then. It was also a massive revelation for us. I wanted to. If
we
I
gonna
was
find
to
out.
put
Period.
it, but I remember I remember that beautiful sense of comeback it was, because
Oh
with his
yeah.
first single literally being Power, because everyone
Uh,
was wondering, hey man, how's he gonna come back? Since what we
He went
don't
down
need
with his
to
mother.
mention, and the other thing that we are not going to mention, but we know, and it's like, is he
Oh
gonna
yeah.
come back? Yeah, is he go is he going to come back
Woo!
being like, hey, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done
We
that,
got that shit years later, and it was even worse.
and it was,
Embarrassing.
and for him to come back with a single like Power, which was about him being like, hey, yeah, I did what I did, but there is nobody
Truly
on
the
this earth who,
abomination of Obama's nation.
yeah, but there is nobody on this earth who is at this space of time, or possibly even ever, that will be on my level. And off the sheer will of that confidence, like, so much of the media was able to be like, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
dang, he's right.
you're absolutely right.
I guess.
And you really wanted to think like, okay, this is the end game, this is the end game, this is the end game for it all. But we end up in this
Nah,
situation where,
it was like essentially like the course setter,
yeah,
because like after
because
this, like,
yeah,
because Ye was like, oh, if I can do this, I wonder what else I can get the fuck away with, and that led us to a point when like
exactly,
I'm
and
blocking like
that's,
Ty Dolla
I would
Sign
say
and all the
that's the perfect,
DSPs.
yeah,
I'm sorry, I cut
you
you off.
know
You're about to go on a big one. Go ahead. Lubricates.
so yeah, you can, yeah, okay, well, okay, you guys can hear me now.
Yeah,
He
you're
learned
good.
all
Go
the
ahead.
wrong lessons. Yeah, he learned all the wrong lessons from it, man. There's the right lesson and the wrong lessons you can take from the success of that album, and he kept showing that he learned the wrong lessons from it. And whatever charm My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy had, and it was very charming for me, especially as someone
Yeah, sure.
who was about to enter like my freshman year at community college. That album meant so much for me. It was a major confidence builder in terms of me trying to be in a new stage of my life. But
Yeah.
I don't need it anymore, man. I don't.
I'll tell you one thing. When I first heard that outro of the John Legend, Blame Game,
Yeah,
like
blame
that
game.
Chris Rock
Yeah.
outro made me laugh. It really made me laugh because it was just so juvenile. But like I don't, like history is reflected. I don't need that shit anymore. And I want to say
Yeah.
something super edgy that may get us into some trouble. I'm gonna like try and broach this as carefully as possible. And I hope you know what I'm gonna say. I think we are past the point in hip hop history where people can say, I love insert artist name here. Did you hear the verse on Monster? It has been far too long for this particular legend in the game to just fall back on this one specific verse for y'all to call her one of the GOATs. You mean to tell me after all
Yeah.
this fucking time, this is the one specific verse that stands out amongst the litany of her work? Absolutely the fuck not. I rebuke this. And I
I'll
want
go even more. Yeah. Yeah. I'll
to
go
go
even
even
more
further. Careful.
controversial. Yeah. I'll go even more controversial and say, that Jay-Z verse y'all love mock it so much. I always thought it was better than hers. Yeah. Yeah.
You might be bugging. You might be bugging on that one.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You,
Because,
you,
like,
you
I
might be
mean,
bugging on that one.
I
Not
thought he
love to
had,
give
I
any
thought he had a
credence to
point.
that particular
Yeah. He
artist, but
was,
you might be
yeah.
bugging on that one.
I don't know. I
You're
like,
but
okay.
you're a real
I
hove
like,
head.
I thought
Hey,
the,
Lord, you're a real hove head. You know what I'm saying? You'd be working at Rock Nation right now if they offer you a job, and that's actual shade in your direction.
okay. Oh, I mean, look. Look. At a certain point, and
This
especially
was like the
within,
Blueprint 3
yeah.
era hove. Are you sure you want to defend this shit?
Oh, I have positive memories of Blueprint 3.
I
I
do
like
too.
Blueprint.
But remember,
Yeah.
Hope's Blueprint 3 is Lupe's lasers.
Okay, yeah. Sound aesthetics, and all that. I mean, yeah, it was Hope trying to go indie rock. It was
No, he was
Hope
trying
trying
to
to
go
go indie
pop. He
rock.
was trying to go pop. Fuck all the indie rock
Okay,
shit. He was
well,
trying to go pop. I
but
dare say his
uh,
444 is him trying to go indie rock, but that's just neither here nor there.
okay, true. I mean, the thing about Hope versus always run that gamut of being like, I'm really, really rich, I'm really, really powerful. You are all very, very jealous of me. Please just be honest that you are
I
jealous
lost all
of
that
that you
coke.
are jealous of me. And it's like one of those things where it's like, I am jealous of you. I do envy you. I want your success and everything. You're absolutely right. It's like, what am
Not
I
you
going to
admitting it.
do? Lie? Like, what am I going to do? Lie? Did I make reasonable doubts? Did I make reasonable doubt? Like, no. Of course I'm jealous. Jeez.
Here's what I'll say about Ho, without trying to, again, not to be too edgy, but like Ho's the type of person who knows where the bodies are buried, and that's why he's still here to this day. Let's keep it a bean. Let's also keep it.
Mhm.
Let's also acknowledge the fact this is a man who's riding his wife's coattails, and maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but like Miss Beyonce is the biggest like star in our world that is not Michael Jackson. Like is the biggest star in
Sure.
the sky. You know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
like not. I have a complicated relationship with Hove, and like we all do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we
When the
all
whole
do.
like Hove did like shit came out and like Muff and he re-released his own verse as a goddamn song. I'm like, he is essentially like that legend that's high in his own supply, and like he annoys me in that way. But it's not my ministry to like fully critique this man because I'm missing the range. Like one of my first like ever live streams me like talking shit about the story of OJ. That shit annoyed the fuck out of me. I really have a bone to
Uh,
pick with old heads, and they're just
yeah,
disdain for the
yo,
new school. Like I hate like the old heads like tradition of giving us advice that does not fucking help for the here and now, and that's what Hove
oh
represents to me.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
exactly what
Catch
the fuck
us.
I mean.
Catch us in 2017 when we will go on a bigger rant about 444 because
I may have to fuck
Jay
around.
Z.
I may have to fuck around listening to that entire album because I still have it to this day never heard the whole shit.
Yeah. There's a bigger conversation. There's a bigger conversation on that
I'll
album.
say that.
That
I'll say one more thing, and I'll shut up about it. You
yeah.
cheating on your wife shouldn't have resulted in such a great album from you. Because like only a motherfucker like Jay-Z can be like, you know what? I just cheated on the most beautiful woman in the world. The only thing that can make it better is the best album of my goddamn career. Get the fuck
you
out of
know,
here, dude.
feel
That's
so, feel like I did something inexcusable. Please feel sorry for me, and I did.
like I said, you're a real Hove head, so I won't hold it
Yeah,
completely against you.
like I did not excuse it, but I was like, yeah, man, he's like really,
I
really
think I
sad, man.
understand.
Like,
Not I, bro.
I
Not I. Let's do the last 25 because we have done a really bad job of snipping the albums. The
we
last
have
25.
done an all.
It's okay. We're
I'm
gonna
sorry.
redeem ourselves. We're definitely gonna like push
Yeah,
that to 230, knowing us. The last
yeah.
25 albums on the Apple Best 100 list are "Kind of Blue" by Miles Davis, the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie, "Discovery" by Daft Punk, "Born to Run" by Bruce Springsteen, "Revolver" by the Beatles, "Pet Sounds" by the Beach Boys, "The Chronic" by Dr. Dre, 1989 Taylor's Version by Taylor Swift, "What's Going On" by Martin Gaye, "Blue" by Joni Mitchell, 21 by Adele, Highway 61 Revisited by Bob Dylan, The Blueprint by Jay-Z, OK Computer by Radiohead, Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, Lemonade by Beyonce, Nevermind by Nirvana, Back to Black by Amy Winehouse, Good Kid, Mad City by Kendrick Lamar, Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, Blonde by Frank Ocean, Purple Rain by Prince, Abbey Road by the Beatles, Thriller by Michael Jackson, and The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill by Miss Lauryn Hill. I have thoughts, and here's what I want to say to start with this conversation. In my personal opinion, you don't get to appear on this list more than twice if we are speaking in an official capacity. Because, and this is us, and this is speaking as a former Radiohead stan. Respectfully, what makes you so much more important to like British rock that you get to appear twice? To say, because like, I would make the argument that the Beatles are, I would make the argument that Radiohead is as important to music as the Beatles. And I will acknowledge that they are one of the hugest bands in the entire goddamn universe. I will acknowledge this fact, but I don't know what makes them so special that you feel like you have to include both of these albums. I don't listen to Radiohead anymore for reasons in regards to Palestine. I do not listen to this band anymore, and I will not listen to this band anymore any longer. You know, because like Tom York has spoken to the press about like why, like, I guess Radiohead hasn't gotten back together for touring reasons or musical reasons because he's working on The Smile with Johnny Greenwood. Could have been a perfect time to like, you know, like have a come to Jesus moment about like, yes, we've like done a shitty job of like representing our fans from that region, such and such and so on and so forth. That's clearly not a priority of his. So go fuck yourself, Tom. So if Radiohead I feel like just for the sake of just like, because we only can get rid of 20 albums, so I feel like we should take this time to snip like duplicates on this list should be snipped. So I move that we should take Kid A off of this list. And personally, my vibe is I like when I listen to Radiohead, I owned both OK Computer and Kid A. I personally vibe with Kid A more, but I feel like for the sake of for the history of music, I feel that people should hear like OK Computer prior to Kid A. I feel like if you love Kid A, if you love OK Computer, you can begin to understand why Kid A was so important to music and to weirdos like you and myself. So I think we should snip Kid A. And I think that I want to snip the Beyonce self-titled album for one specific reason, and that reason is that Detail, the producer for Drunken Love, is a full-on predator.
Oh yeah,
I guess like allegedly, but like there's enough rumors in like the music industry on social media and even freaking Wikipedia that like this particular individual is a monster. It's giving Dr. Luke. Again, I don't want to be litigated. Allegedly. For what it's worth, we here at Ken Mide explicitly support the victims of like these particular producers. And because like, and here, like, in addition to like Palestine related reasons, the reason why I don't like go out of my way to like, I've only heard Cowboy Carter because like people in my life love that album. I definitely streamed Renaissance twice, but not all the way because I was like doing shit when I listened to the music. But like I wouldn't like spend like hard-earned money on it because a particular songwriter is on that album, The Dream. Again, has a person who's been arrested for crimes of a Chris Brown nature, allegedly. Which is also why I feel like in addition to like snipping the Beyonce self-titled, we should go ahead and just snip Nas off completely for Chris Brown. Here's the thing. Nas's victim is a very public figure. And like I'm going to stand with the person who has like everything to lose and when she speaks out. You know what I'm saying? A person that like who we acknowledge had like who wanted a sample of hers removed from the Beyonce album. And kudos to Beyonce for making that happen immediately. And I'll say that to say, if Beyonce can like change the lyrics to a Renaissance song and take a sample out when the album's already out, she could have easily taken that movie away from Is Not Real when it was being like circulated all over the globe. Easily. And because like a lot of people are frustrated that Beyonce is like standing with the VP for like her campaign to be elected as president for that specific reason. And so like I don't want to hear that like the most important pop star alive today does not have like the power to say do not let my film get played there. You know what I'm saying? Because in that documentary, it's clear that like a lot of people don't trust Beyonce to make her own decisions in regards to how she presents her art to the world. Like there's like a specific scene where like she wants a specific like camera or some shit or a specific light, and people are like, we can't make that happen. We can't do that. And she found out on her own that it could be done and went back like, I found explicit examples of what I want being done elsewhere, so make it happen. I fully acknowledge this. So, but in addition to acknowledging those things are very huge for me. When like the biggest pop star in the world has a chance to change, like to create a moment where like we demand safety for others who we will never meet. In the same way that I would advocate, I don't know if I want the Taylor Swift version of, I don't know if I want the Taylor version of 1989 on this list, in the sense that I don't think that 1989 is the best Taylor Swift album. I'm surprised I didn't go with Red. Personally, I would have gone with Red. Because for me, I'm going on a bit of a tangent. I apologize. The first track of 1989 sucks so much. Welcome to New York is a shitty song. It's too cheesy for me. And I love cheesy pop music. I love it so much. But like, that song sucks so much. If there's gotta be a Swift album, it should be Red, in my personal opinion. I almost kept I think like my failed, I guess I'll say my failed Taylor Swift podcast is privated right now. But like I definitely like in regards to like analyzing her work, I kind of like miss the mark a lot often. But I know and like as a person who like, I used to advocate for her Earth, Wind, and Fire cover, like full stop, point blank, period. Because I feel like it just did just enough for it didn't like fuck up the assignment for me. But that Welcome to New York shit is absolutely awful. And I don't like that it won over I didn't like that it won Album of the Year when it was nominated. When it was nominated for the Grammy and it won, it kind of annoyed me. You know, like I know it was a big fuck you moment that she deserved to have for herself personally, but like I don't like when you're already like a huge fucking star. I prefer you to have, I don't like you having your moment over everybody else, over artists that need it more than you. Mm-hmm. In that space, I said a lot. Like, if I can backtrack for a little bit, do you have any thoughts on the Radiohead shit and the Beyonce shit before we move forward?
Oh yeah, like I definitely stand. Well, okay, well I definitely stand with you in terms of like why I feel like I've had to distance myself from my Radiohead fan days, and it's just, you know, I don't even want to make a big deal out of it. It's just, you know, if Radiohead's going to support who they're going to support, then I feel like at this point I have to make the logical decision to not want to support them if that's something that they're just not going to comment on. And look, I get it. I get it. I know who Mr. Greenwood is married to. I've known this for years. And
I did not know, for the record.
You know, but you know, and it's like, okay, cool. If that's your reason why you're gonna be in that position, then that's the same reason I feel like I gotta hop off that ship. That said, that said, OK Computer was just always the superior album to me. I mean, look, like I grew up with Kid A. I think the title track is absolutely wonderful and sublime. But you know, in terms of like the albums that really kind of solidified why, you know, Radiohead is a band that you talk about. Yeah, I wouldn't say it begins and ends with OK Computer, but OK Computer is in my opinion, you know, it is the center of that the center of that conversation. If you really want to go, you know, if you really kind of want to go maybe a tad bit curveball-y, all right, in Rainbows, but no, it's OK Computer. And yeah, as for Beyonce, I think Oh well, I think the Beyonce self-titled and Lemonade kind of have this very weird dichotomy relationship with one another, especially when you talk about a song like A Drunken Love, which is exact opposite of the songs she is
That whole
making
verse, woof.
about Jay-Z, about Jay-Z on Lemonade, which yeah, hey folks, wanna look into the artistic evolution of a relationship? Yeah, just go through Beyonce's discography, and the stuff that either is featuring or is very explicitly about her husband. That's yeah, that's quite a trip. And I think much like with my displeasure with Radiohead in terms of where they stand on on a heavily important global matter right now. I think if you don't see the problem of your work being consumed, not only being consumed, but being celebrated in a region where now more than ever eyes are really there on their atrocities. I don't even want to get too dramatic about it. It's just, if there's a simple thing you could say or could do that has not been done, and I don't take it personally, but it's also part of the reason why I'm like, I kind of have to back off on this. I don't feel like talking about Cowboy Carter right now. Like, I mean, no disrespect to Cowboy Carter, and I understand it's I would say
It's changed a lot of people's
social
lives.
social commentary, as well as mega love for her putting the spotlight on a lot of like black women country artists. But I just kind of felt like I was just at a the situation with Israel just kind of put me in a place where I was just like, all right, okay. I mean, look. I mean, we know everyone's going to celebrate this anyway, and they should,
They
because
don't need
you're the
us.
queen. You're the queen. Yeah,
Beehive
exactly.
doesn't
They
need
don't
us,
need us.
respectfully.
So it was one of those things where I tried not to get like too in my feelings over that, you know but I can but I did end up feeling a type of way about about that situation at hand. But it was, you know it was what it was. It was what it was, and I can accept that. That said, I mean, okay. 1989, I understand. Like, even in my lapsed, like, not a Swifty, but definitely an appreciator of her. Like, I
It
knew
was,
how I
yeah.
understood. Yeah, like, I understood how much 1989 was
Changed
just
the
kind
fucking
of
game when
like,
it came out.
yeah, especially in that trajectory where I feel like with 1989 kind of put us on in a place where, like, Swift superstar status was always confirmed, but 100% solidified. Did I feel a type of way over it winning over To Pimp a Butterfly? Maybe, but I
Definitely.
also, but look, the Grammys do this stuff all the time. I'm used to the
They're
Grammys doing
desperate.
this, and like, my position on it was, okay, it is what it is. What it is. I just can't take this seriously, but it
There it
is
is.
what it is. And I and it's such a weird. It's such a weird section of this list, because obviously, a Frank Ocean absolutely deserves to
I
be
think
on
Blonde
this
is a
list.
better
But
selection, honestly. I think Blonde is a better choice because, again, uh, I recently saw when I was with Raw,
uh,
I was at their
yeah,
place and they put on Channel Orange. And yeah, that's like, I've heard the entirety of Channel Orange on like quite a few occasions.
yeah,
I feel like I'm a bit burnt out on it. And I feel that Blonde is a more important landmark album for like music history. I feel like history will reflect, there's so much to like take in about Blonde that we still haven't discussed as a society. So like, and like
Yeah,
I
yeah.
personally, I think about like Nike's when he says RIP Trayvon, he looks just like me. And like I
Mhm.
remember where the fuck I was when I heard about just like the when like the judgment initially for like the death of Trayvon Martin happened. I knew where I was. I remember what I was doing. And like I really felt like I personally felt like an injustice had been done to me when that happened.
Yeah,
And so I want like in the same way how like what's going on is about like the Vietnam War and shit like that. Like the death of
yeah.
Trayvon Martin was like a declaration of war on like black people in this country. You know what I'm saying? So much so that Hove acknowledged it in a song that I wished more people like only like Hove and like Roddy Rich were the only people who like said the things that I wanted to say about what happened to Trayvon that I wish more of us did. Respectfully, I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get this channel shut down. If you know, you fucking know.
Mhm. Yeah. Geez, and it's not even that I can disagree with that many of these sections. I think whatever my grievances comes out to, it's just a byproduct of the inherent limitation of trying to commodify so many musical achievements to just a top 100 list. I mean, say what you want about Rolling Stones, but did
I
they
want
at
to put any
least,
of the shit here.
you know, but
Personally, and I
but
know that you
they,
have. You chose a different release.
yeah, yeah. Say what you want about the Rolling Stones, but they at least understand that you can't commodify this stuff to just 100, man. There's just too much stuff that's just kind of left an
Speaking of
impression on the people.
speaking again of like these
And
legendary British bands, you go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry, you first.
yeah, and and with your opinion on Double In, I mean, uh, which one did you always prefer more, Purple Rain or Sign of the Times?
Fuck, you're right. Before we get there, because honestly,
Mhm.
I think my answer is gonna be Purple Rain because I saw the movie when I wasn't supposed to, and that shit changed my life. But let's. I wanted to like. I was gonna bring up the Beatles because they have Revolver and Abbey Road on here. I
Yeah.
prefer more songs on Rubber Soul, but I think people need to hear. Abbey Road is one of those albums you got to hear by the Beatles because it may be one of the few albums I've heard of theirs all the way through. And I feel like it kind of I think history, like I know like it's like a default white boy who smokes weed in college has a poster on his wall bullshit. And they're like walking
Mhm.
across Abbey Road is a meme that like people shitted on One Direction for doing and whatever the fuck. But like like sad, like say whatever the fuck you want about it. Abbey Road is one of those albums that is as good it's as good as advertised. I feel like Rubber Soul's more underrated, but I feel like I do feel like at least for once in your life, a motherfucker should hear Abbey Road just to see what all the hype is about. Like I have my grievances with Lennon and like McCartney that aren't relevant but acknowledged in my personal and private life. But like I think like if I gotta pick one, like gun to your head, I'm gonna probably just pick Abbey Road.
Yeah, and I get that, and no arguments on that. I feel heck, even with them putting like Rolling Stones Exile on Main Street, it's a
Do you dislike it enough
and
to take
all
it off?
uh I just feel like the Rolling, okay, I put it more in this bin where there are certain artists who have enough quality albums that it's kind of okay, if you like, where my disagreement is just very, very incredibly preferential. Like I get why something like Exile on Main Street is a classic, but
I
there,
don't.
but I put a way different Rolling Stones release on my
You did
list.
Rock and Roll
Granted,
Circus, right?
yeah, the Rock and Roll
I
Circus,
would have
which
easily. I would
technically,
have.
yeah,
I know it's a live album, but
you-
like, I
yeah,
think that makes more sense to me because like looking like, because again, just like to judge a book by its cover, I look at this album and I'm like, why the fuck would I want to listen to this? But then, because like regular people understand that the Rolling Stones are one of the biggest rock bands in the world. Motherfuckers know that. They know
Yes.
the lips. They've maybe heard I Can't Get No Satisfaction at least once in their life. But like, if
Hmm.
I'm like a person with no context for the band, see an album called Rock and Roll Circus, I'm like, okay, that makes sense, I guess, on its nose. But like, but like the shit that they already have here, I have no specific context for it, which is why I would take it off if I'm being honest with
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
But before we do that, because I know we still talk about Prince, right now on the list of like of throwaways, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 14. So we could squeeze Rolling Stones on there with no issue. I
Yeah.
want to just like check in with you real quick. Some of the choices that
Hmm.
I made personally that I didn't really discuss with you while we've been talking. I have both. I have 3 artists on here though. I've added Inner Vision by Stevie Wonder because Stevie Wonder is on here twice, and I think it's kind of obvious that like Songs in the Key of Life is a crucial fucking listen, a little more than Inner Vision. Because one of my favorite one of my favorite Stevie songs, Too High, is on Inner Vision. But like
Yeah.
Songs in the Key of Life has Love's in Need of Love Today, and that song becomes more relevant every day that I fucking wake up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like
Yeah. Yeah.
for those simple, like just for that motherfucking simple difference, I have to take off Inner Vision. And I'm sorry to swear when I'm talking about Stevie Wonder because I know that man loves the Lord. Um,
Yeah.
I also have
Yeah.
I also added Dr. Dre and Nas for just like those triggering real life examples. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I literally do not care that they're that important to rap. I literally do not care. The same reason why I don't care. That's why I'm taking Drake and Kanye and Nas and Dre off. It's so kind of fucked up that like it's a no-brainer to take these 4 artists off, but somehow I still keep 50 on there just for like the sake of nostalgia. Because it's just like the only issue I really have with 50, I guess, is that like he's reckless with his words, and like the facade of like being a businessman keeps him safe. I don't think it'll always be this way personally, but like he keeps on finding a way to just like snake his way into people's good graces. And that's why I don't really like Curtis in particular.
And it's like, and while I don't know, I don't feel like going too deep into my own like grievance, because like, all those things you mentioned that you want to take off, like there's no argument with me on that. There's a reason why, like, my own personal list, which is filled with hip hop stuff,
Yeah, it is.
that I was, there's a reason I very adamantly like, it's just like some of this stuff, their quality speaks for themselves, their legendariness speaks for itself. It's just like, I don't know. There's just certain conversations that it's like, I know people don't want to have about certain people on this list, and I just don't have the bandwidth. I just don't have the bandwidth to get into it with someone where it's like I have to be like, yes, I get how influential so and so is,
Who
especially when
cares?
we're talking about stuff within the region. But it's like there's certain stuff that so and so is implicated in, that it's like the older I get, the more I'm like, I can't, I don't like, look, there's everyone, I like, people do have their own relationship with separating the art from the artist, and that is not for
I think it's
me
bullshit.
to that's not for me to kind of like put that kind of like to really kind of put in on what your relationship should be with it. But it's just, I'm just at a certain point with certain stuff and certain people, where it's like, bro, yeah, I was there. It's like, bro, yes, I can talk about how impactful this stuff was for me then, but it's like, it doesn't matter anymore, man. It doesn't
at
matter
all.
anymore to me anymore. Like, hey, I went on and on and on about how much Kanye was like very important for me as a teenager. It doesn't matter, and it
I
just
weep for that
doesn't
man.
matter anymore. Yeah, man. And it's so, I'm like, I don't want to put my own personal 2 cents on, on a lot of hip hop stuff you ended up had to take away from it, but I completely understand why you did it,
If the
and
base
there is
reason is too
not.
much of a leap for you to make, then I question you I question your morality as a person. Respectfully, I question your
Yeah.
morality. Too
Yeah,
like
and yeah.
let's
It's like
fucking call
there's
it
no,
out.
yeah, there's no, so it's no judgment. So it's no judgment for me, man. It's no judgment for me because I've already kind of had to silently move away uh, from certain people on this list. And unfortunately, look, I mean, unfortunately, certain people are just really, really continue to be really, really relevant. Some people even have their own awards category at the Grammys, and it's just like
You know what?
I already have enough. Yeah,
Before we
I
move on
already
to
have
Prince,
enough of a conflicted relationship. Yeah, yeah.
before we move on to
But yeah,
Prince, I
go
want
on.
to say this. I want to say something because like you move like a person who fears for his life, and I want to respect that paranoia and fear. But like
Yeah,
I feel as though we as a collective have to be loud in our disagreements with like these mainstream acts in our barbershops and like in our schools and our workplaces. Because the foundation, like we joke that like the meme, like the 5 pillars are like, oh, breakdancing, graffiti, bars,
mhm.
beats, and whatever the fuck are like the foundations of the genre. When in reality, like the foundations of hip hop are manipulation and mistreatment of black women and femmes and queer folk. Like that is the core. That it's so funny. Like old heads hate new school hip hop, but it's like this is the one thing that y'all seem to agree upon is disrespecting and treating like black women, femmes, and queer people with absolute like disrespect. Somehow, like the R word became okay to say in hip hop songs, and like more and more new school guys like to drop the F slur just just on some street shit. And I do
Mm.
not condone or agree with any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's very much like hip hop is very much like an us versus them conversation a lot, and I hate that for our people and for its consumers. You know what I'm saying? Now, the hip hop, much like wrestling, is a reflection of our times, and like I refuse to just like glaze shit just for like the sake of it. Like one of the folks you chose for your list, I don't listen to anymore because of his association to another MC, which I absolutely do not respect any longer. And we'll get to that when we get to that. We'll get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah,
get
yeah,
to it.
yeah,
You know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Look,
yeah.
it's like it's so like again like I normally I'd roast you saying you move like a politician in regards to just like not naming names because like you are a man who loves peace and you're like you want to be gentle with folk. Nah, I gotta be I'm gonna be as ignorant as the artists who like conflate like this bullshit upon their audience. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I wouldn't let a coworker of mine do what Dr. Dre did to that poor journalist. You know what I'm saying? I'd lose my job over that shit. And I'm not tough. I'm not a fighter, but like
Yeah.
we can't look the way on we have to stop looking the other way on certain shit. And
And
like and if
yeah,
the public is
yeah, yeah,
misinformed on like on what's going down, it is your responsibility to clear the air. It is your
yeah,
responsibility to be like 100% about that shit. Because
yeah,
again, I despise the fact that one of my white friends is like, "What's going on with your boy Kanye?" when he put on the red hat. It's like, how dare you have like the gall to like look at me like out of like to like smile like, your boy Kanye is on that MAGA shit, my dog. And it's like, first of all, don't why would you even like is that funny to you? Me and this person never had a conversation about it, and probably never will. But like, I shit always got on my fucking nerves. That's just like
it
your boy
was, and it
Wildin,
was,
your boy Wildin.
yeah,
That's why are you trolling me with that shit? Why isn't like
and
why isn't it
yeah,
why isn't it why isn't the why is not the conversation like, hey man, just in case you didn't know, like he put on the hat. Are you okay? Like it was almost as if like you think I would like justify that shit. And I have been an apologist for Ye for years. And like I'll be the first to
Dude,
call that. I'll be the first to call that out about myself. I was in the group chat maybe
yeah.
a year ago, almost crying about, man, someday Kanye will die, and like he'll never get a chance to like I don't know, just like I don't know, like not necessarily get to walk back all the wrongdoing he's done, but at least acknowledge in real time I fucked up my career for good, and I acknowledge that. What I fucking pray for Ye is just a good relationship with his children because he can clearly do nothing more for me as a fan or for the community that he helped build up all his career, and like I have been my
Yeah.
peace with that. But like it's kind of like like our people as a culture mourn Michael Jackson. And like I don't listen to that man's work anymore because I cannot like have a sensible conversation with friends and family or strangers about like the elephant in the room in regards to his legacy. The same thing for
Yeah.
fucking
Yeah.
Kanye West. Like people are gonna like in the same way that like people like rolled out like the big monster truck like motorcycles and ATVs for like DMX, but don't have any fucking conversation with the kind of just like harm his music puts other people in our culture. Like we're gonna do that for Ye someday, and that's gonna fucking suck. It's gonna come. It's gonna come at a time when like he's almost completely gone from the limelight, and it's gonna come. It's gonna resurge all over again. The clothes that he wore, all the albums, the vinyl, the CDs, the fucking cassettes, the mixtapes, and like I'm gonna be in my corner, like silently sobbing, listening to Through the Wire, because like that's where it all started for me. That's when like my cousins were trying to like connect with me because they knew that I was a little weirdo who didn't have the same interests as them, and that fucking sucks. But there's more important MCs right now struggling to get heard that Kanye could be supporting. That like remember when like The Alchemist won Producer of the Year at the BET Awards, and mugs were like,
Yeah.
he's white? How can a white man win this award? Not knowing just like the hours upon hours upon hours of beats this man has given us to our favorite rappers, to the rappers we don't even know yet who are going to change the face of this fucking genre. Man, I'm all heated up and shit. Let me
Yeah,
shut the fuck up, man.
and for further context, Alchemist was putting it down for the culture even when he was a teenager in the 90s, getting cosigns from like Cypress Hill, man. Like Alchemist has been in it for a long time, and I mean, and yeah, I admit my conflicted relationship with it, and there's certain people online who are way more about, oh hey, we separate you all from the artist here. I
Nope.
don't care about your feelings. Who I still see rocking My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy and Yeezus, and
Not even the best fucking Kanye album is on this fucking list.
I can't, and look, and it's like, because the matter was just too painful for me to witness in real time, and it was just, okay, I'm not going to turn this into anything, but if you're rocking that album, I just want you to know that everything we ended up complaining about with that man, like, on an album that I consider myself a personal fan of, it's there. The things that ended up kind of being on his undoing, it's there. And it's like, I don't know
We
if
all
you
saw the
get that,
signs.
man. And it's just one of those things where it's like, and this was something I've been saying since like for 4 years now, like ever since when the Tory and Meg thing was happening, and I'm seeing cats making, like, writing essays on excuses for why they're still gonna rock with Tory. Back when before anyone even said anything, before the signs were there on who did what, and what really happened.
Hey,
And
Olor,
yeah,
we have almost hit 2.5 hours.
yeah, man, we did
We're
so,
almost
man, we did.
done. Let me
Man,
swing us back around a little bit. It's ironic because like you mentioned Meg the Stallion. There's only maybe
yeah,
like 2 women MCs on this list, and it's just Miss Lauryn Hill and Missy Elliott. And You know how earlier I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, like I mentioned how you know who has a verse on that Kanye album, and somehow that's like her best verse considering all the work she's put in over the years, whether you like it or dislike it. She's not
Yeah.
here. It's so funny that like neither Wayne or you know who are on this list. All things considered, in the cultural canon, make of that what you will. I think it's very interesting as an observation. Let's move to the
Yeah.
Prince shit off the top. I think Sign of the Times needs to go, and that's no shade to that album. It's just that I know that it's like because the only like passionate Prince fan that I know is black. Like you know, like it's so funny. Like white people don't know a lot about like black rock stars. Like the extent of their knowledge is Jimmy, Lenny, and Prince. That's like the extent of their knowledge. And
Mhm.
sure, like I guess like I don't have a lot of context for Sign of the Times, but like again, it was late. I was young. Someone had Purple Rain on TV, and I like I'm like this is one of the coolest fucking things I've ever seen. It changed me as a person, you know, because Prince wasn't like the nicest guy in the world, but he was really a rock star in a time where
Yeah.
like and like because like I don't know enough about like the 80s and like hair metal or thrash to really like comment, but like of
Mhm.
all the things that like is exemplified by old school rock and roll, that was Prince. He was writing lyrics, he was dancing, he was sexy, and like he was going to leave it all on the fucking stage.
Yeah. Yeah. And and I think okay, and I guess I have my own personal relationship. Well, okay, well, not like Purple Rain did not like Purple Rain the movie. I have a I think it's a good movie. It's one of those movies that is like I understand its legendary and mystique, but it kind of missed it's like, and I saw it at a young age, but it kind of missed me right here where I would have like cared that much. Um, but but the opening of it, Let's Go Crazy, was
I
a
love that song so
very,
much.
very yeah, very, very special song for teenage me. For I don't know. I don't need to go too deep into my history, but
Rest in peace,
uh
Prince, man.
yeah, but so I mean, like, yeah, I know Purple Rain is such the basic is such the basic, Prince or woman. Like, if I really wanted to throw something at y'all,
Still underrated.
yeah, I would say put his self-titled sophomore album or something there.
Wow.
Like it yeah, that if I really wanted to throw a curveball at y'all, but yeah. But I get it. I get it. I get it. I mean, I think like when you are such a legendary artist, and a legendary artist who had consistent quality releases, much like with Rolling Stones, it's like you can take it's like you can replace one out you can replace one album with whatever. It's like so I get it. I get it. But
Okay, so like we've gone for like an hour and a half. We've gone for like 2 hours and a half. We still have like 3 listeners.
yeah.
Thank you to our 3 listeners. We love you so much. Tell you what, we're gonna move around on this list. Pick two
Mhm.
records that gotta go. I'll pick two, and we'll come back in like 2 minutes to one another because I think I already know. While you're moving around, I think I want to nominate Led Zeppelin 2 to be like taken off the list. How do you feel about that?
I think Led Zeppelin, it's kind of the same thing I said with the Rolling Stones. I mean, you could put Zeppelin 3, you could put Zeppelin 4, you could put Physical Graffiti. There, there's so much consistency that like trying to put your number on like the true essential Zeppelin album. It's like it feels kind of worthless to me. It's like you're better off just kind of sticking with the album that just means the most to you, and means the most to you in that respect.
Honestly, and I only picked Led Zeppelin because I think that one of their members was super problematic, and I don't want to like do myself like I don't want to like get depressed and look it up. But like I know enough about what happened that I remember it, so I'm like I don't listen to that band at all. And I have to
Technically,
like
neither do I.
yeah, I was gonna
Technically,
say
neither do
scandal
I.
acknowledged and take them off the list. I also forgot that I forgot that I included anti on our like remove list. So you get the
Yeah.
last pick for like as far as like disqualifying releases. I'm partial to I want to like suggest something to you. Like I think we should take off
Okay. Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
one thing I think there's one thing I think we should like take off before like I hand the keys over to you. I kind of want to take off Hounds of Love, and I'll tell you why. Because
Uh-huh.
this is my edgy take. I don't really like Running Up That Hill at all. I don't understand what makes that song so good. Personally, I'm partial to songs like Wuthering Heights and Babushka. I feel like Never
Yeah.
Forever alone, just for that song alone, should be on this list because Babushka was my first ever Kate Bush song, and I'm like, this song is so unhinged. It's basically like the cooler, weirder version of like Pina, like the If You Like Pina Coladas. Like it's a better version of
Mhm.
that song, and like I just love that when Kate Bush was in the '80s, she was just looking
Mhm.
feral, and I loved that for her. Just like was being as like creative and weird as she wanted to be, and it almost feels like nobody told her no. It was like, Kate, do your thing, shorty, and like she did, and it
Mhm.
paid off because now Big Boy is our biggest fan. I think that's the coolest flex any pop star from England could ever have. Ever.
Yeah.
Like, who
Yeah.
gives a fuck about
Yeah.
Stranger Things? Big Boy is a fan of my music, okay? Inducted me into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Fuck all the other bullshit. That's my only. It's not. I'm not taking it too seriously, but like, I know. I just don't understand like the enjoyment of that song. Like, not even cover. I love covers, and like, not a single cover of that song has like done it for me at all. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't really
Yeah.
get it, but like,
Mhm.
it's like it's. I guess like there's no harm with it being here, but I'm like, I personally don't see it. Do you have any like stake in like the Kate Bush canon? You know, there's, I know there's like a lot of music and shit, but like, any thoughts from you? He's pondering his orb.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know going back to your Kate Bush example. I mean, to be honest with you, I always thought the Dreamin', which was her the predecessor to Hounds of Love, was always was a way far more interesting album where Kate really kind of got to let her freak flag fly. And looking through these, okay, I mean, looking through this list, I mean, there's stuff that I would replace just because, like, admittedly, an artist just, if we were to be really honest, it's like certain artists, like, it's like I get the fame and notoriety of certain albums, but it's like I don't feel like that's the best that should be seen as the best representation.
Okay,
Like,
let me should like leave Kate alone.
okay, like yeah, and and who and an artist who I get why he's on the list. I'm not saying take him off the list, but maybe reconsider a certain album. Like, yo, I love Tupac, but come on, but like All Eyes on Me. But All Eyes on Me is an album I have such a conflicted relation. I have such a conflicted relationship
Speak
with
on it.
it. I'm like,
Speak on it.
I mean, I think, and and it's funny because there was when we were talking about Mr. Shakur, when we had Mr. Booker on, and Mr. Booker making it very clear that he just didn't really care about Pac like that, and it's like,
Kind of
I
neither do
feel
I.
like,
I go front.
I mean, I once said something about Pac where I said, like, in my opinion, being a fan of his means that if you were to really be an honest fan, it's like his best work. Okay, unless you want to say Me Against the World, which I would completely understand, but
I wouldn't because
I think,
I don't listen to Pac, but go on.
but it's like, if we're really to have an honest relationship about what he meant as an artist, I think you should. I don't even know. I don't even think you should go to his albums. I think you should just go. I think you should go to his poetry, man. I think that's the best
I love it.
relationship you ever. you're
I
ever
love
really
it.
going to have with it. I have his book of poetry. Is somewhere in this room. I don't want to do what I usually do, where I
You can
actually
do it next
leave here
time.
to grab it. But it's like, these are the way more interesting example things we should latch on instead of the basic. And it's like, I know y'all love California Love. I get that y'all love California Love. California Love is a jam, but it's like, but the death row era is just so destructive for me, and just something that even, me as a true blue, 90s rap fan and stuff like that, the more I think about that death row era, the more I just want to keep it away from me. There was too
I have an
much
idea.
destruction.
I
Yeah.
have an idea. You know how like a big meme in hip hop for like novices of the culture, like, huh, Biggie or Tupac, brother, Biggie or Tupac. I have a
Mm.
radical ass idea. We have two more slots, I think. Yeah, we have two more slots for like albums we're removing from like this list. I say we go ahead and pull the trigger. Sorry, bad pun, but like, let's just like, sorry, that's so fucking insensitive. Um,
Yeah.
let's just like remove both Biggie and Pac from the list and just call it a day. And
And
honestly, and the basis
yeah.
of me removing Biggie is primarily like it's primarily motivated by Sean Combs. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I don't
Because
blame
like
you,
even
man.
as like
I don't
even as a
blame you.
kid having no context for this like the severity of a bad person that Sean Combs was is like as like a novice and as a novice of the game, my immediate thought was like, hold up, like the producer of this rapper gets to like reap all the benefits of him being gone and not like his family and children. Something is off, because like I would hear like the Biggie, like the Puff Daddy song with like this the police sample, and for that was my only
Um,
context for every step you
oh,
take,
oh,
you know
oh,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
And
I'll be
that song
missing
kind
you.
of like
Yeah.
rubbed me that I'll be missing you rubbed me the wrong way for years. And even for what it's worth, I also hate I'll be missing you. Like I hate every step you take by the police. That's just creepy as fuck Sting. But like, yeah,
Yeah.
straight up. I hear the police are like a legendary
Yeah,
band.
that's good.
Like
That's good.
I
That's
think
good.
Sting's a
That's good.
dickhead, but I don't know too much about them, and I know other people that I respect love their music. So whatever, I guess. But let's just like it would make things so much easier for us just to like, oh, either or. How about neither? Problem solved. Like I'm really more concerned with just like the new school, like the health of like hip hop is in the hands of the new school, and we owe our ears to them. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like
Yeah.
if because it's like it's clear that like artists like Pac and Biggie are deified people in our culture and in this industry. So I'm like, if I don't want to like talk in circles about shit you already like have made up your mind about. It's like the same conversation of like, oh, which Linkin Park album is better, Hybrid Theory or Meteora? Personally, now it's Meteora, but now I don't listen to Linkin Park at all. So who the fuck cares? Listen to some other new school music, some new metal music. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like,
And
uh,
even with my list, even though there's a bunch of stuff on my list that's already on the others, like I very
yeah, there's a few
consciously
selections that are on
stayed.
yours, but like, I
Yeah, I very
yeah,
consciously stayed away from the Pac. Yeah,
it
from
only
Pac
goes
and
to
Biggie.
it only goes to show how strong those releases are if you are also acknowledging them. But like,
Yeah.
man, honestly, not to glaze you too much, I feel like the list that you made is so much more balanced than this other list because it's almost so obvious. I'm surprised they didn't come to the same conclusions that you did. You know what I mean? I do not think we have time. Like if I'm speaking as an executive of Apple, there's no time to like go digging through the crates for specific releases for a
Hmm.
best albums of all time list. And I feel
Yeah.
like there's just so much culture lacking from this list. It's very Western centric. And I guess that's a given, but like, fucking Björk is on here for crying out loud. And arguably may not even look like the best Björk record. But at least she's
Yeah.
here. You know what I mean? And like odds are like again, your average listener of music doesn't know who the fuck Björk is. And that is a problem. I think that is actually a problem in this culture that we have. Like it was like as an ignorant like American, I used to think that Gaga stole like Björk's total swag in regards to just like being an out there like outlandish like presenter of like fashion and culture. But like it's not necessarily the case. And
Yeah.
say nothing of Stephanie in general. I did not mention her at all during this like entire discussion. But look at us. We almost went 45 minutes on this shit alone, tangents included. We are definitely like streaming another 2 times to like discuss all of this fun shit. I have let me see something real quick. I don't work this Saturday. Are you interested?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Let's do
might
it.
fuck
Let's do it.
around and do a double stream that day because I was supposed to have gone live with good old Los Haystack West for the Haystack Hates Your
Yes.
Music
Yeah.
women's hip hop edition, and we never got it done. I think I may have to fuck around and do a double stream.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
I
not, but like because that felt a little dangerous considering how long we ran on this one alone. But like
yeah.
for those who missed like his witty commentary, like rest assured it's coming back, and it's coming back with a fucking vengeance. I
Yeah.
might just
Yeah.
like
Shout
I
out
might just
Haystack.
push that to if I'm being honest with myself, I might push that to week week 2 of November, like a Sunday morning stream. We'll see. I'm gonna get with him. I'm gonna see what works best for him. But like, because based on what works for his schedule, I may push you to the 10th. But we'll get there when we get there. It has
Okay.
been a fucking blast chatting with you. Thank you to all the folks who chimed in the comments. Miss Wallenstein, V, Rob Primus. Like, we love y'all so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm gonna tag SoundCloud in the comments. I'm gonna put V's website in the comments. I'm eventually going to make YouTube versions of both of our lists on maybe if not tonight, then tomorrow. So look forward to that if you like come back to this stream. My friend Olor, it has been an honor and a privilege talking to you today. Like I said, we are fundraising to get Olor's passport reinstated because he may be leaving the country. And I hope that if he does, like the film industry gets him a permanent career.
Yeah.
So make of that what you will. Like nothing set in stone, and we are welcome to the changes. We love y'all so much. Any final thoughts before we go?
Hey, thank you guys for coming. And I like the thing about actually trying to like watch these watching our recaps after we're done is that I always feel like I come off too rambly, or I didn't get to
you
the
carry me
point.
sometimes.
It's just and that, and I hope that in this pushing 3 hours, then there was something I had to say that was worth sticking along with. But hey, I'm always glad when I get invited to these things, and I'm thankful that Chris and I have been able to kind of maintain it, and it clearly seems to enjoy having me here. And even though I've been kind of like doing a few of my own kind of solo-ish stuff, which
Go please watch Olor's video essay on his own channel. I'll link that as well. Like I want some comments, I want some likes.
Yeah, and and
shout out
I
Marty.
don't and if we coming back on Saturday, I hope that by that time if I don't have anything new to share with you guys, then I possibly have an update on more stuff, because hey, I will always give Chris credit for even when we're not doing anything together, he keeps the fort standing tall and tall and strong, no matter who he's with, whether it's with me, whether it's with Haystack and all that. And
shout out Friedman.
Oh yeah. Also, much love to Friedman.
Love you, dog.
Caterman. It's all love. So I'm like, I'm glad that we get to have these conversations, even,
Same.
whether we verge off topic or we go into areas that are difficult to talk about, very difficult to talk about, but they kind of have to be they kind of have to be talked about, especially in this day and
Damn
age.
straight.
And neither of us have the answer, but but hey, I'm glad we got to, like, I don't know, like, mention a lot of the stuff that makes kind of talking that can make talking about music a tad bit difficult, and I'm glad, and yeah, once again, we don't really have the neither of us really have the answers, uh, but these but this is admittedly a more productive conversation that I end up having with, most folks on the social media sphere that have like that no offense, can kind of have their blinders on. So, and man, isn't, on a random note, isn't it cool that Red Hot Chili Peppers isn't on this list? Like,
Fuck the Red Hot Chili
for all
Peppers.
the, like,
Fuck the Red
it's
Hot Chili
so,
Peppers.
so yeah, an awkward conversation we ended up not having because Apple did us that solid. Thank you, Apple. Thank you so much, Apple. Yeah,
Doing the heavy lifting.
yeah. But seriously, y- yeah, but seriously, guys, thank you guys so much. It's
Real
been.
quick, just as like to cap it all off, because it's like 10 p.m. on a Wednesday, on a Tuesday night. We have decided to subtract the following artists from the Apple 100 albums list. We have Travis Scott, Kraftwerk, Arctic Monkeys, Erykah Badu, Guns N' Roses, Drake, Kanye, Radiohead, Beyonce, Nas, Stevie, Taylor Swift, Dr. Dre, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, Prince, Led Zeppelin, Rihanna, Notorious B.I.G., and Tupac. We will discuss the 10 albums that Aramide will suggest at a later date in November. Happy Halloween to those who participate in that particular holiday. I've said it once before and I'll say it again. The world, what's it called? The world is very terrifying right now, but don't be tricked because you are a treat.
Yeah.
And that's all I have to say about that. Say that thing you always say.
It's goodbye, but it's not farewell.
Well said. Thank you for listening. Godspeed. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.